Here's your chance to jet off in style in business class with Aer Lingus on the direct route to Nashville, Tennessee, flying from Dublin up to 5 times a week. Check it out on airlingus.com. Touching down in Music City, you'll stay 5 nights at the Omni Nashville, a modern and sophisticated hotel located in downtown Nashville, just steps away from Broadway's honky tonks. And so you can make the most of your trip. You'll also get a Nashville Attractions Pass, giving you free admission to more than 25 local attractions. Plus, there's $1,000 to spend, so you can also experience Music City's vibrant nightlife, diverse local cuisine and live shows. Check it all out on visitmusiccity.com. For your chance to win, answer this question. Which of these is the current manager of the Limerick All-Ireland Senior Hurling Team? Is it John Kiley, Jack O'Connor or Johnny Greville? To enter, call 15 17 71 71 74 or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57886. Maximum cost per entry is €2.50 and must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday the 10th of August. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Good look at that. From Nashville to Thurles we go for the second of the Glendimplex All-Ireland Camogie Senior semi-finals with Tipperary versus Cork. Tipperary, the perennial semi-finalists, but with a new look team hoping to take on beaten All-Ireland finalists last year, Cork, who've, I suppose, been undergoing a lot of change this season on the hoof. But we're almost set now for a 4 o'clock throw in here at FPD Semple Stadium. 6 o'clock in FPD Semple Stadium, Cork versus Tipperary. And of course the 4 o'clock game was won by Galway safely into the All-Ireland final. We're going to hear now from both Tipperary and Cork management teams, James Heffernan and Ger Manley.
Ger, you're meeting Tip for the 4th time this year. There can't be anything that the two of you don't know about one another.
Yeah, we're after a couple of good games with Tipperary, the league, the Munster Championship and the Championship itself. So look, they know as much about us as we know about them. So look, there's very little between the two teams.
You met last just about 5 weeks ago, and there wasn't a great deal between them. You won by 3 points. What do you expect to be different today?
Look, Tip have a few changes. We probably don't. Like, it's supposed to be the break there for a month, so just to get things right, we had a few niggly injuries, got those started. So look, I know we're all good. System's gone.
You've had to do a lot of restructuring this year. You lost a lot of players, so that has been the reason, presumably, why there was a slow start.
Yeah, look, I suppose start of the year we had a lot of injuries. There was lots of girls stepped away. The league wasn't great for us, but look, we got girls' games and we won the Under-23 Championship, which made a big difference to us. So look, we're happy enough. We still got lots of players that have been at this level for the last 4 or 5 years, so look, we're happy enough.
What is your message to your team going out there?
We want to win. That's it. So we came here to win. That's what we're looking to do.
James, the players have had heartbreak at this stage, the semi-final stage in recent years. How are they all approaching it this afternoon?
Yeah, George, to be honest, it's not something that we're kind of dwelling on, you know what I mean? They've trained really well the last couple of weeks, so just been looking forward to this game and this game in itself. So like, to be honest, like we're kind of new. It's a new kind of fresh panel, so I don't think previous years comes into it really. You know, there's a lot of kind of young players, a lot of players in good form and stuff coming into the game. You know what I mean? It's like you just kind of take every game as it comes.
The loss of Caoimhe Marr with an ACL, that's a real heartbreak.
Yeah, big loss to the panel. She's a great leader within the group. Very disappointed for her too after all the years and toiling she's done with Tip. But look, she's been important too the last couple of weeks. She's kind of been around the younger players and getting them going. Like, but you know, very disappointed for Caoimhe in particular. But like a huge loss to the team as well. But
it causes a bit of restructuring.
It does, yeah. But we have a strong panel, and that's why you have say 34, 35 people on the panel. You know, so like it's just next player up then, and like we have plenty of good replacements to come in.
You played Cork only 5 weeks ago in the championship. Only 3 points between the teams at that stage. Very close.
Yeah, it was a close game. Now, look, there were 3 points in it, and we hurled well at stages. But to be honest, we never really got the grips with Cork, and you know, it was a comfortable 3-point win for them. So look, we'd hope to be a lot closer now today, and try to put it up to them that bit more. Tim Clooney scored. Was 15 points that day. That won't be enough to win today's game, Ger. So, yeah, they could probably learn a good bit from it, but we probably allow Cork to hurl too much of their game too. You know what I mean? So we'll have to look at that today, hopefully.
You're playing the semi-final here at Semple Stadium in front of a Tip crowd by and large. Can this be the day?
I think so. Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's why the girls are training here since last November. Like they love what they're doing, you know. So like they're raring to go, and like we're here to win the match. All right.
All right, and James from Clouthy Rossmore, they had to wait a while before they got their county final in recent years, but they were patient and good things came to them as well. He'd be hoping the same for his Tipperary side today, up against the Cork team that have restructured on the hoof as the year have went on. Is it a wide open game, Ursula?
In lots of ways, I think this has to be the game where Tip have to release the shackles. You know, they must be sick and tired of all the talk about semi-final heartbreak, losing the last 7 out of 8 years. They're playing on their home pitch. They've already beaten Cork once this year. Cork are down, 13, 14 players at their panel last year. This is their opportunity. I believe this is their best opportunity to get over that semi-final hurdle. Now, Cork are not here to make up numbers either. Cork know how to win semi-finals. They're probably still hurting from last year's final defeat, and they want to get back there again. But I think it's going to be an intriguing game in lots of ways, and some big players out there today.
Anne-Marie, earlier in the season, Tipperary, they played with great agility. They ran through the lines. They were very impressive beating Cork and Munster, but Cork have regrouped significantly since then. Has the balance of power shifted since that day in Munster?
Yeah, they have, Damien, and we were just talking beforehand maybe about the league and about the Munster Championship in Camogie. Like, now I don't think that matters when it comes down to today, and like the experience on big game day is really, really important. But I think, again, I agree with Ursula, for Tip to get out in Nolan Park, get away from that semi-final, or, you know, down in Nolan Park, I think that's good for them. I think mentally, though, those 3 games that they've played, Tip have drawn, they've won one and lost one against Cork. So mentally, maybe the game itself won't matter, but mentally to know that they can beat Cork, they can take them down. But I think they're going to need to up their performance again another level or two if they're to get to the same level of Cork on the big game day.
And a health check for Cork. After last year's All-Ireland final, very quickly it appeared that a lot of players were not coming back for a variety of reasons. There appeared to be maybe slight doom and gloom around the camp that so many big names or names are moving on, but that has kind of redressed itself in recent months as well. Can you just give us a synopsis of how the Cork squad has evolved this season?
Yeah, Damien, you can't underestimate was the impact as well of winning the Under-23 All-Ireland with Cork for the very first time. A lot of those players like Millie Condon, Ava Fitzgerald, even Maeve Murphy, they were really impactful in that Under-23. They brought that confidence and that momentum into the senior squad, and like that's definitely, I suppose you can really see it now reaping dividends. When you're looking, there's the programme gone. When you're looking at Cork, even within the year itself, like they've made a lot of positional switches. So in the Munster quarter-final when they lost to Tipperary, Maeve Murphy was cornerback, she's now out centre-back. Laura Hayes is centre-back, she's now out midfield. Aisling is back from injuries. So, you know, Millie Condon has moved to wing forward. It's, you know, there is fresh faces, but these girls still know how to win. They've won All-Ireland titles, they have a lot of experience, and I think sometimes we talk about, you know, transition. We were actually only saying at the break, this word transition. When players are doing really well and teams are doing really well, transition's positive, but it can be seen as a really negative if they're not. So today, like, yes, like there's a lot, I suppose, of new faces in the Cork setup. But equally on the Tipperary side, Tipperary won't fear Cork in the way that traditionally we may have seen it. I read somewhere that Emer McGrath was saying that the last time Cork played Tipperary in a semi-final back in 2018, she wasn't even involved. So they don't really have that fear. They're not carrying that. And much like what the girl said, if ever Tipperary are going to try and get back into an All-Ireland final, they're first since 2006. Today, I think, is that day.
Karen Kennedy's envision.
Yeah, like Karen Kennedy is so pivotal to Tipperary. She hasn't played since the first round game against Waterford, which is 7 weeks ago. She tore her calf that day. She's probably the most versatile player on the Tip team, if not in Camogie itself. She could play anywhere. It'll be really interesting. She's wearing number 8. I think she might be playing more back line in the centre back position. I think she's brilliant attacking, pushing forward, but I think Tipperary need to be compact at the back. They need to restrict the ball that's going into that full forward line, and she's one of the best players. But 7 weeks without maybe playing game, you know, how ready is she for today? No doubt she's going to give it her all, but her hurling, her first touch, a lot will tell.
And if she's there, she's going to be on Saoirse McCarthy, I mean, who was, you know, picks up player of the matches for fun, and outside of then Aisling Thompson and Laura Hayes are going to be two like engines. So, you know, if you are coming from a stint of being away injured, we're expecting Karen to step up to it almost immediately if she is centre back.
Can you talk to me then, Anna? I suppose just we roll in a small bit of analysis here, but so many big names missing, but so many new faces for Cork as well.
Yeah, there is. The Cork half back line in particular are very different to what we would have seen last year. Aoife, Healy, Laura Hayes and centre back Laura Tracy. But Maeve Murphy, who we see on screen here now picking up the ball, she was centre back for UCC, which won the Ashburn for the first time since 2003. So she's well capable. There's great, I suppose, cohesion as a unit between the Cork half back line. Saoirse McCartan, the here, gets the ball, and as she does best, long range point over the bar. But that was well worked up from Isabel Sheehan and Ava Fitzgerald. Maeve sits back in the pocket. You see her here intercepting the Galway pass. She's not going to be a player that's going to find too far outfield, but Isabel Sheehan, number 7 here, and also Ava Fitzgerald, number 5, they're well capable of coming up the pitch. You see here the run from Laura Hayes, or is it Millie Condon? It's passed here to Ava Fitzgerald, and again over the bar. My one caution, I suppose, with the Cork half back line, particularly the 2 half backs, is the aerial possession. It's something they have to be very careful today with Tipperary. We're not really commanding under the high ball, and we have to be against Tip. And also, if the girls pull too far out to try and go up for their scores, which Ursula's going to talk about in a second, the Tipperary inside line, they're a massive threat. So the half back line for Cork will have to hold firm. They can't go too far out the pitch.
And one thing about Tipperary the last day, Damien, against Clare, they were excellent on their own puck outs. I think they only lost 5 puck outs in the whole game. They've got girls that have serious aerial ability.
Yeah.
It looks like Cork have won the toss and will play with the wind, so we'll keep an eye on that one as well. Just making the point then, Ursula, about the Tipperary inside forward line. You've got Grace O'Brien, an exciting young player who won Munster Player of the Year last year.
Yep.
Cueva Stakelum looks to me to be a generational player, and then you got the great Emer McGrath. Is that...
Well, if you look at last year, Emer McGrath was out injured with ACL, and Cueva Stakelum wasn't even in the panel. And what I love, you know, teacher and former student working so brilliantly together. Like, what a touch by Emer McGrath. She's been the focal point for Tip attack the last number of years. But I love that Cueva pounces in. She's ready to get the break, and she's deadly in front of goals. You know, her movement, her skill level is second to none. But the goal here in the quarterfinal, look at Cueva running off the ball, and look how the quick thinking from Emer McGrath. That's what I love. She sees Cueva inside. Cork can't allow that happen today, but she will do this all day long if she's given the time and space. And again, Cueva tracks, works hard. Her work rate is actually something that maybe goes unnoticed at time. Niamh Trassa then hits the ball inside to Grace O'Brien, and Grace, I think, is thriving a little bit more this year as well off the 2 girls, because she can score 3 or 4 points in the game really, and can go under the radar. And they've scored 240 across the championship this year, and I think if the right ball can go inside to them, you know, it can lend to a good day for Tipperary.
And they have to be clinical today, Damien. Like, any chance that presents itself, Tip have to take it if they want to be in that shake-up at the end of the game.
Would you go along with that then as well, Anna? So looks like you've got the wind, Cork, in the first half. Do you go directly into your forwards?
Well, I would, because when you have that inside threat of Amy O'Connor, Saoirse McCartan and Orla Cahalane, you know, I mean, their ability, I suppose, not just to score over the shoulder, but also to set up goals is really important. And I think they do. I think Cork nearly need to lay down a marker here, because there's a lot of people questioning whether or not that they're good enough to get back into an All-Ireland final. But they've showed to me that they're capable time and time again. And even if you look at the last game where they played against Tipperary, you know, the body of work that they did after the Munster quarter-final, it really told true. And I think that they're on an upward trajectory since.
And that day against Tipperary, their inside line, 8 points from play. I'd be, you know, Amy O'Connor, I think, scored 6. The Tip full back line need to be on their toes to ensure that they don't get an early goal, especially playing against that breeze.
I'm going to ask you to call it briefly. I'm looking over to the new stand. It's fairly full. It's great to see. Anne-Marie, what way do you feel the game's going to go?
Yeah, I'm thinking this is Tip's big chance. They need to show up. They need to perform. I think if Aisling Thompson, her leg is heavily strapped, as Anna has said already, if she's out, I give Tip a good shout.
Ursula?
Yeah, I've said at the start that I think Tip are really, this is their best opportunity, but I think Cork know how to win a semi, and I'm going with them.
You would go with that, Anna?
Yeah, I still think Cork have enough of experience and enough composure, but like what Anne-Marie said, this is Tip's opportunity. This is what they've been looking for now, and I think that, you know, if they don't do it today, will they ever do it?
OK, breeze is picking up again as we go to Elaine Aylward and Ger Canning in the commentary box.
Thank you very much indeed, Damien. Yeah, it's got quite dull here this afternoon. As you say, the breeze has picked up. We'll check on the 2 teams. We're going to start with Cork. And 10 members of this Cork team started last year's All-Ireland final against Galway, including the team captain Maeve Cahalane at corner-back, and her younger sister Orla, who was a goal scorer in that decider. Number 6, Maeve Murphy, came on as a sub in last July's final. Now she's part of a new look half-back line, which includes Ava Fitzgerald of SARS and Isabel Sheehan of Éire Óg. The ever-dangerous Amy O'Connor and Sorcha McCartan start up top. 28 points between them in 3 championship matches so far. Well, Tip are forced into change following the ACL injury sustained by Caoimhe Marr in the quarter-final win over Clare. Karen Blair now moves back to number 6, with fit again Karen Kennedy returning to midfield. Last year's All-Star Mairead Evanston starts at full-back, and it's the first All-Ireland semi-final for left half-back Celine Guinan of Shire Rovers. The Tipperary attack contains several potential match winners, from Leaving Cert student Caoimhe Stakula to experienced teacher Grace O'Brien, and the side's top scorer, Emer McGrath, another teacher and coach, already with a goal and 26 to her name this year. Well, Elaine, we're a few minutes away from the start here now, and the panel, well, some of them anyway, and quite a few people I've been talking to, giving Tipperary a decent chance.
Yeah, I think today it is probably their chance. You know, the fact that they're out in Nolan Park, I feel they're back at this stage. It's familiar territory for a lot of them, but at the same time they have that injection of youth as well. When you look at the likes of Caoimhe Stakula up front, you know, no fear of an occasion like this. It's really going to stand to her, I think, being inside in Semple Stadium for this big day. And look, Cork experience at this level. Cork teams always bring it when it comes to semi-final stage, but I think, as the girl said, if Tip are ever going to do it, today might be the day that they do it.
Crowd of around 7,000 here at FPD Semple Stadium, standing right now facing the tricolour for the playing of Auron Navian. That was a truly wonderful rendition of Auron Navian. So all set to go. Quite a contrast between these teams. Tip's 9th year in a row to play in the All-Ireland semi-finals. 20 years since they made the final. The match referee, Barry Neave from Westmeath. A Cork side with some changes that's been in every final for the last 5 years. So who's going to make it to play against Galway on the 9th of August in Croke Park? There's the Tipperary manager, James Heffernan. In his first year in charge as manager, he was manager of Clonalty Rossmore. They had a number of mishaps before they finally won the county title for the first time here in Tipperary in 2024. It showed the value of persistence. Ger Manley, former Cork senior hurler, he's had to restructure his team quite considerably, having lost the services of several key players after last year. They'll be itching to get back into the final. They know that Galway are already there. And of course, last year, it took a last-minute point by Carrie Dolan to win the final. So Cork won the toss, and they're playing with the breeze from left to right for the opening 30 minutes. But immediately, it is Tipperary, and they get possession here with Emer Heffernan going down. Free awarded. Opportunity then for the free taker to come out and take this opening free of the match. That's Emer McGrath. Well, Emer missed all of last year, of course, with an ACL. It seems to be very much in the wind at the moment, the whole subject of cruciate injuries. But it's great to see her back. She's had a wonderful championship so far. Score of a goal and 26 points. So ready to take this one from 65 metres out. Breeze against her. Let's see if she can make it. It would mean an awful lot to Tipperary. She's got it absolutely right. Great start. Opening free, converted by Emer McGrath.
Yeah, lovely strike from Emer McGrath there, and look, she's unerring from those dead ball situations. And as the panel suggested, Karen Kennedy gone back to centre back, picking up Saoirse McCarthy there at the moment, and Marie Deveston picking up the other danger woman of Circa McCartan inside in that full forward line for Cork.
That first puck out by Cork, then down towards Emma Murphy, went off her stick. It's a Tipperary player who takes it, Caoimhe McCarthy, and Caoimhe was taking it out of her hand. Well, you can do that in the new rules inside your own 45-metre line, but the referee is calling it back now. And I wonder, is he going to throw the ball in rather than allow Tipperary to continue and take it a second time? Yeah, he's going to throw the ball in. Can't do that. So straight away it is Cork trying to win this back. Izzy O'Regan there in the green and white helmet, number 2. And that's got to be a line ball for the Rebels as well. So looking to try and put a bit of early pressure on the Tipperary defence.
Yeah, I think a real sign of intent from Cork as well, that they won the toss and elected to play with that breeze. They're obviously going to try and get scores quick and go at Tip straight away and maybe put some doubts into the Tip mind.
Aisling Thompson didn't play in that match here 5 weeks ago. That's collected back there by Karen Kennedy. Under pressure there from Sorcha McCartan, the down native. And the referee again is ready to bring the ball back for a foul there a little earlier by Sorcha McCartan. So it's going to be a free for Tipperary. A bit of a niggly start to the game.
Yeah, tense, and a couple, I suppose, players getting to know one another, maybe a couple of switches. Caoimhe Stakelin was out here at left half forward, and she's been picked up by Eva Fitzgerald on that Cork half back line. So a couple of positional changes around the field, and I suppose players just getting to grips with who they're marking and where they are positioned on the field.
Caoimhe Stakelin is number 13. Look out for her. She missed the match against Cork earlier because she was doing her leaving cert at that stage. That's one back by Cork, easily enough. Little bit of a control there, and eventually hit away by Emma Murphy away downfield. Take it in here by Karen Kennedy, looking to exert a big influence on today's match. Back in by Emer Heffernan, controlled here by Karen Blair. Nicely slipped forward. Is an opportunity for a score here from Clodagh McIntyre. Beautifully over the bar. Opening point to come from open play, and a second for Tipperary. That's scored by Clodagh McIntyre.
Yeah, and Clodagh back out around the middle of the field, actually picking up Aisling Thompson at the moment, and she showed her a clear pair of legs there to get ahead of her there and get that one over the bar. So, you know, great start for Tipperary.
Another puck out by Amy Lee. Down there over the head of Celine Guinan. Picking it up here instead is Emma Murphy, and it's a fine-looking shot by Murphy, and she gets Cork's opening score of the game. Very, very reliable player. Emma Murphy from Glen Rovers, making it 2 points to 1.
Yeah, and covers an amount of ground for Cork. You know, she popped up a few minutes ago at left half back over there, picking up a loose ball, and then popped up a right half forward to put that one over the bar. She'll cover a lot of ground, and she's one of those half forwards that loves tracking back the field.
This tip puck out is mopped up there by Maeve Murphy at the back. Then Izzy O'Regan slipping it down through the centre, intended for Isabel Sheehan. Overhit, however, and passed out by Caoimhe McCarthy for Tipperary. And a little battle for it here in the middle of the field. Referee allowing it to develop until it comes back towards Caoimhe McCarthy once again. Slipped outside to the right-hand side to Grace O'Brien. And O'Brien blocked down well. Taken again, this time Karen Blair. Again, it's Isabel Sheehan taking it for Cork. And they build out of their own half-back line. Collected here neatly by Orla Cahalad. Down into the inside forwards, down there towards Sorcha McCartan. Could be a very influential player. That's up into the air. It looks good. Has it gone in? Yeah, it has. Sorcha McCartan then levelling up the game for the first time here with a wonderful individual score. All her own work.
Yeah, and I think that could be a brilliant battle inside in the edge of the square if Sorcha stays in there. You know, Marie Deveston's a huge character at full back for Tipperary and not afraid to come out the field if she needs to, but it's 1-0 to Sorcha McCartan so far.
Cork have it back once again. Their centre half back, Maeve Murphy, steps into that role this year because of the retirement of Laura Tracy. Out it comes as far as Aisling Thompson. Strongly through the centre. Down as far as Saoirse McCarthy. McCarthy lets it run on in there. In there, causing a bit of trouble is Amy O'Connor. But this time taken back by her marker, who is Amy Quinlisk, I should say. Out as far as Emer McGrath, and McGrath from a big distance out, and that one drifts out to the right-hand side, and that is the first miss of the game so far, and it comes after nearly 5.5 minutes of play. Emma Murphy then put under pressure by Caoimhe McCarthy of Tipperary, and helping her out is Grace O'Brien, very near the far sideline. Grace O'Brien trying to hold it and keep it away from the Cork player, finally out over the line. So it's going to be a line ball to Tipperary. And the player who's going to take it will be Grace O'Brien, who's been a Tip senior player now since 2017. I think she's going to... well, no, she is going to take it, or is she? No, she's moving away from it and leaving it there for Emer McGrath to take. And if that McGrath name sounds familiar, she's a cousin, of course, of the McGraths, the hurlers from Tipperary. Noel and John and Brian. Cut up beautifully, but straight to the waiting Maeve Murphy. Out as far as Aisling Thompson. Hand passed her way out of trouble as far as Isabel Sheehan, the Éire Óg player. Into the path here of Orla Cahalad. Holding on to it. Marked there by Emer Lukman. Gets the ball inside once again, all the way down there towards the ever-dangerous Sorcha McCartan. Already a scorer in this game. Recycled beautifully towards Amy O'Connor. O'Connor causing trouble. Here she goes. And O'Connor buries it in the back of the net. What an early boost for Cork that is. Amy O'Connor a goal here after 7 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and it's that lethal full forward line. They mightn't be playing inside in that full forward line in the traditional trio, but the three of them worked really, really well together. Orla Cahalane won that ball so well. Super ball down to Sorcha McCartan, and she found Amy O'Connor, and she made no mistake.
Well, that's the worst possible blow for Tipperary to concede a goal so early in the game. Laura Hayes here, hand passing it back, and the referee says she threw it. A throw by the St. Catherine's player, who was a former player of the year, so a free to Tipperary. Well, they've oceans of time to recover from that. The way in which Cork carved open the Tipperary defence that time, and Amy O'Connor, player who's won 6 All-Ireland medals, getting the opening goal here. Free taken by Celine Guinan, dropping on the 45-metre line. Back there to come and collect it is Emma Murphy once again. All the way across, bit of a race for possession here. And winning that race is Laura Hayes. But then it's Caoimhe Stakelum getting involved, kicking it ahead for Tipperary. And looking to get a return, and actually did get the return. The referee blew the whistle, and so they're not able to gain much of an advantage from that. It will be a free in.
Yeah, good response for Tipperary to the concession of that goal. You know, won the ball really, really well here in front of us, and Roisin Hurd and Caoimhe Stakelum combining really, really well. Just a pity the advantage maybe wasn't let develop in a little small bit. I think thought Caoimhe Stakelum might have had just a step gone ahead of that, but a chance for Emer McGrath here now again, and a chance just for Tip to respond to that concession of the early goal.
Very important that she puts this one over. She's already pointed in the game, and that should be a second, and the umpire goes for his white flag, ready to wave it. So once again, it is just 2 between them. Amy Lee from the Piershig, who was a goal scorer in the championship this year from open play against Waterford. That went through the hands that time of Millie Condon. Collected instead by Celine Guinan. Looking to try and take control of it properly, and then the pass was overhit completely for Emer Heffernan. You can't afford to make elementary mistakes like that.
No, good recovery from Millie Condon there. You know, missed the initial one, but got back to put good pressure on Celine Guinan and probably forced that turnover a little bit. Tip just maybe a little bit nervy in positions there for the first couple of minutes, but as I said, Cork's huge experience will stand to them at this stage.
Yeah, there's going to be a hold up here now, Elaine, and it's for Millie Condon. We were talking about just a moment ago, an under-23 winner. You may have heard Ger Manley, the manager, reference that in the interview before the game. It was an important boost for the team. James Heffernan, first year in charge with his team of backroom officials, doing a very good job so far, but trying to break through that glass ceiling that has been so difficult for Tipperary teams down the years. They haven't played in an All-Ireland final since 2006. This is one of the fine scores of the game. This was the goal that was set up here by Sorcha McCartan and completed in devastating fashion by Amy O'Connor.
Yeah, Karen Kennedy probably just caught a little bit flat-footed maybe on that occasion, and as the girls said, 7 weeks out of championship hurling, you know, maybe just had a little bit to add to that.
Well, there are 2 players down there marking Amy O'Connor at this stage. She seems to love playing at Semple Stadium, love playing against Tipperary. She's caused them so much heartbreak in the past. Cork have it again. Back once more it comes. Orla Cahalane this time. All the way across, over towards Emma Murphy. Looking to try and advance past Caoimhe McCarthy. Checks her stride and hits it nicely between the uprights. And she's got a second.
Yeah, super score from Emma Murphy. As I said, getting through a notion workout around the field. She's popped up at left half back on occasion, but in her own full forward line there and put that one over the bar. And she's had a super start to this game.
Well, so much of the talk about the other players in the forward line, but Emma Murphy is a player who scored a goal against Tipperary in the league last year, so she has form. Here's Casey Hennessy now. They need to get going inside there. That ball up towards Emer McGrath, being marked by Libby Coppinger, who's a footballer and a hurler. You'd never have guessed. She cleared it there beautifully with her right boot.
Yeah, and I think, look, if we look at Sorcha McCartan and Murray Devston at one end of the field, certainly Emer McGrath and Libby Coppinger at the other end has the potential to be a huge jewel in there as well. As you said, Emer McGrath back this year from a cruciate and getting on the scoreboard every day for Tip, and Libby Coppinger, a tough defender back there, so another huge one to watch.
Emer is a teacher. She's also a coach. She coaches Cueva Stakelum, her number 13. Cueva just having finished her leaving cert this year. Here's a chance. Opportunity to build. Back it comes there. Casey Hennessy blocked down. Oh, it's gone over. Beat the block. Got there. Very important score from Casey Hennessy.
Yeah, lovely touch from her and lovely recycle ball from Tipperary, you know, straight out off the hurling over the bar from Casey Hennessy, and it's been a good response to that Cork goal. You know, they've got the next 2 scores.
So just 2 between them. And Amy Lee once again coming out, having taken the puck out short, dropping it down there. Coming in to help is Karen Kennedy. Such an experienced player all the way down towards Emer Heffernan. Looking to get a good run on things there, being marked by Izzy O'Regan. Slipping it wide across there. Should be Maeve Cahalans. Waiting for it. It dies there before it hits the line, however. And Grace O'Brien is in to challenge her immediately. Uses Libby Coppinger, the fullback from St. Columb's in West Cork. Down into the middle as far as Aisling Thompson. Looking to try and steal a march on Clodagh McIntyre. All the way across over towards the other number 12, Millie Condren. Millie recovered from an injury she sustained earlier on. Onto it quickly there, challenged by Karen Kennedy, holds on, slips it back here as far as Sorcha McCartan. Looking at the target, confident in herself, very near the sideline, striking it beautifully. Superb score by Sorcha McCartan.
Yeah, another super score from her from out on the left on that occasion. Just the space she's able to create for herself. You know, she had enough time there to swing back onto her favourite left and to pop it over the bar from there. But it's that space inside and that tip full back line, the Cork full forward line are really thriving on it.
So a goal to margin once again. Tip once more looking to respond. Taking possession there was Roisin Howard. Fired inside towards Emer McGrath. Can she steal a march there on her marker? I think the last touch might have been off Libby Coppinger, was it? No, it wasn't. Puck out instead. On it comes into the middle as far as Saoirse McCarthy. Fired down. It's 1 against 2 or 3 down there, and it's Sorcha McCartan down there causing the problems. This time able to get it back towards the ever dangerous Amy O'Connor. Angle was too tight that time. The crowd of Tipperary players got around her. They worked hard. They won it back. There's an injury to, I think, Sorcha McCartan, and the referee is going to hold up the play.
Yeah, huge passage of play there. You know, Sorcha McCartan looked to have beaten Murray Devston, who did really, really well to get back, but then recycled out again to Amy O'Connor, and Amy O'Connor looked to break through, but just tipped defence held tough there, and you know, it looks dangerous down there from here's Saoirse McCartan again, and yeah, I think just missed probably.
A collision there with Amy Quinlisk, and certainly it's Sorcha McCartan who came off second best. There was a fear in Cork that she might not be available to the Camogie team this year, that she might be moving abroad, but they're very, very happy that she has continued to play with St Finbarrs and with Cork under the management of Ger Manley. Amy Quinlisk then, the player who made the contact with Sorcha McCartan. This, we think, should have been a 45, because we think that the last player to kick it out, as I thought at the time, was Libby Coppinger.
Yeah,
anyway.
And Emer McGrath, in fairness to her, had put up a good protest to the umpire there, but didn't get away with it on that occasion, I suppose. But yeah, a 45, that tip will have feel aggrieved not to have gotten.
That is struck away there by Laura Linan. Down into the forwards. Cork there in numbers, but this might work out for Emer McGrath. It doesn't, and in the end it's a Cork player who's got it, and that is Ava Fitzgerald from SARS in Glanmire. Fired down the line, but there is Karen Kennedy once again, mopping it up at centre half back, wearing number 8, feeding it back into the forwards once again. Again, Cork with numbers and strength and lots of ability. Winning it back, Emma Murphy. taking off past Caoimhe McCarthy, showing a clean pair of heels down in towards Sorcha McCartan. They're doing the elementary thing, which is to feed the most dangerous player they have, Sorcha McCartan, and when she lays it off, the end result is a fabulous score, and this time it's scored by Laura Hayes. But McCartan was involved, Hayes with the finish, and it's 1-5 to 4 points.
Yeah, and it's the quality of the ball that's getting inside to Sorcha McCartan. You know, Cork are getting their numbers back with Emma Murphy on that occasion again, back at left corner back. She gets the ball, conveys it up the field, and McCartan is in so much space up there and can create so much space that she's able to create things for other people. And you know, that was a super score for them, a pop pass back to Laura Hayes, and Cork are thriving in that full forward line.
Cork with 1-5 so far. All of their scores have been from open play, and this time for holding, the referee is giving the free to Tipperary. Cork trying to organise themselves and get the marking right, and the referee is going to bring it forward because the Cork players didn't retreat as they were supposed to, and now it makes it an easier free for Emer McGrath, and Ger Manley won't be pleased with that.
And just talking about the space in that Cork full forward line on the Tipperary defence, it's Cork 4 players inside their own half the field at the moment. Orla Cahalan, Amy O'Connor and Sorcha McCartan in a line through the centre, and all the space out to the side of them, and the quality of the ball then that's coming in from the likes of Emma Murphy and stuff when they're tracking back the field is making it impossible for Tip to defend. They're bypassing Karen Kennedy so easily.
It's fascinating to watch what you just say there, because they are using that space so cleverly. Emer McGrath just outside the hurling arc, and that is between the uprights once again. So it's a third for her, all of them from frees. The only other member of the forward line to score so far has been Clodagh McIntyre. There's plenty of scores in that forward line if they can get the supply. Cork trying to deny them. Amy Lee all the way down, missed by a couple of players, collected by Saoirse McCarthy. Onto it quickly came Laura Hayes, a point scorer already. 3-4 Tipperary players after her, and the referee saw a drag back. It's got to be a free in, and this will be the first point from a free if Cork can make it at this late stage. Well, this reasonably early stage. It's 18 minutes into the first half. It's also their first free that they have been awarded in the game. Amy O'Connor will be the taker in her 13th season. Her goal coming after 7 minutes. So to tack this one on and to put 4 between them. Nicely done.
Yeah, Tip had been really disciplined up until that point, I suppose, and a lot of that is down to the fact that the quality of the ball is going in. It's been going straight into Cork hands. Tip nearly haven't had a chance to foul them in there, but that's the first scoreable free they've got, and Amy O'Connor put it over without doubt.
Amy Quinlisk taking it out of defence. She had been playing in the forwards before she was brought into the Tip team, and the manager opted to play her in the corner back spot. Here's Emer Heffernan, ready to go forward. Challenge there by Laura Hayes. Looking to try and come across and take it. It was Clodagh McIntyre keeping it in play here. It's Aisling Thompson there, and leaving it eventually for Libby Coppinger to play it back as far as Millie Comden. And Millie will use her goalkeeper, Amy Lee. And Amy, under pressure, gets that ball away downfield. But again, coming across the Tipperary sweeper from centre half back there, hoovering it up there, collecting it, using it intelligently, trying to play it forward, intended for Emer McGrath. It still may be held by a Tipperary forward, but in the end, Cork with strength and resolution, and no stronger than Laura Hayes here. And good vision to pick out Emma Murphy, who had drifted away to the left-hand side. Nobody went across to mark her, and then she confidently struck it with absolute pinpoint accuracy. A third already by Emma Murphy.
Yeah, she's had a great start to this game. You know, she's got her name on the scoreboard 3 times, but the amount of work she's getting through the ground, she's covering out there, her link play between the backs and the forwards, you know, she's supplied some of those really good balls into Sorcha McCartan inside and got her own name on the scoreboard 3 times now. A huge start for her.
Laura Linan, one in the middle of the field there by Izzy O'Regan, the Ballygarvan player. Saoirse McCarthy back down into the forwards again. There are more Tipperary backs than Cork forwards, but the Cork forwards are using that space very, very smartly. Amy O'Connor holding, then into space it comes. 2 Cork players going for that one ball, and it'll fall to Millie Comden. Comden advancing, and the goalkeeper is beaten once again. Millie Comden this time. A goal on 21 minutes. Laura Linan seemed to have stopped it, but the power of the shot carried it over the line to make it another one for Cork, 7 to 5 points.
Yeah, a rocket of a shot from Millie Condon. Laura Linan got the hurl to it, but such was the force that hurl spun in her hand and into the net, and that's a great score for Millie Condon and a great boost for Cork. As I said, they're really benefiting from that space up front. They're running from deep, and you know, Millie Condon was in her own half back line, full back line a few minutes ago, and then she pops up at the other end with a goal. Huge work rate from Cork.
Real problems now for Tipperary. 8 points back, playing on their home patch in Semple Stadium. Big Tipperary following here. Cork have the wind in the first half. His side will have it in the second, but not sure the wind is strong enough to be the determinant when it comes to which team gets through to the All-Ireland final.
Yeah, their defence was just at 6s and 7s there. You could see Caoimhe McCarthy tracking back and stuck between two players calling for cover, and the cover just wasn't coming, because when that red wave comes from the middle of the field, it comes in numbers, and it's very, very hard to defend it.
Of Cork's 2-7, 2-6 has come from open play. Maeve Cahalane, their captain once again this year, bypassing the sweeper this time, onto her sister Orla Cahalane. Didn't score in the league when the teams met 5 weeks ago. She's put that right here after 22 minutes. Opening point of the game by Orla Cahalane, an under-23 winner already this year.
Yeah, and she becomes Cork's 6th scorer. I think Saoirse McCarthy, the only one maybe in that starting 6 that hasn't got her name on the scoreboard yet, but the work that she's doing around the field, you know, it's really, really ruthlessness from Cork up front at the moment.
They are determined to get back into the All-Ireland final at Croke Park in a couple of weeks' time. Galway waiting for them. Galway watching this here, I'm sure, somewhere, having changed. I can see them down here actually quite close to where we are behind one of the dugouts, and they're taking it all in. There's nothing these teams don't know about one another. Into it comes Laura Hayes. Still loads of time for Tipperary if they can manage to get back and get some scores fairly quickly. Ava Fitzgerald back as far as Maeve Murphy. Slipped the hand pass across here as far as Aisling Thompson. Down into the inside forwards again. Down there towards Sorcha McCartan. Across this time. The provider, that was towards Isabel Sheehan. A little bat forward there, however, took it out of her grasp, and it's Laura Linan who's able to begin the counter-offensive. Down here into the centre towards Casey Hennessy. And then it is Karen Blair. Caoimhe Stekelenham. Haven't seen enough of her so far in this game, the teenager. That's Libby Coppinger back there, helped out by Maeve Murphy. Into the centre it comes. That was Aisling Thompson trying to win it, but winning it instead is Casey Hennessy. And Hennessy gets it into the inside forwards towards Grace O'Brien, not sticking in there. But they go again with Roisin Howard. Slipping it back. Grace O'Brien could always be depended upon to get several scores for her team in every match. And that's Grace O'Brien with her 8th point of this year's championship. They needed that just to stay in touch.
Yeah, good score from her, held up well by Roisin Howard there till the support play. Emer McGrath had drifted well back the field there, but she's drifted back up now. She's out in the half-forward line, I suppose, as Tip just tried to get a foothold in the middle of the field. As I said, the ball they're winning, the quality they're putting into that full-forward line, it's impossible for the Tip full-back line to defend.
One very interesting stat, which I'm seeing here, Elaine. Cork with 10 scoring chances, 10 scores taken.
Yeah, they're absolutely on fire up front, you know, and again it comes down to the quality of the ball that's coming in from out the field and the speed of the support play getting up to them. But it's a pinpoint actually. The last ball Maeve Cahalane put into Orla Cahalane bypassed the sweeper completely.
Here's O'Connor, Amy O'Connor fired in, no pressure on the shooter. Easy as you like for Amy O'Connor. So a goal, a point from a free and a point from open play now. Not half bad as it's 2-9 to 6 points in the second of the All-Ireland semi-finals coming live from Semple Stadium.
Yeah, and Tip need to find something here now just to stop the rot for a few minutes. You know, they've been playing second fiddle all over the field, and Cork are really punishing them on the scoreboard. Tip need to get a score and they need to get a foothold back into this game.
Emer Heffernan went for it, didn't get it. Instead it's that fighting spirit that Cork are showing in this match, their physicality, their know-how, their excellence in championship matches. Millie Condon down. It's 3 against 2. The 3 should have this under control, and they do, with Karen Kennedy. Not the greatest of balls forward, however. Straight to Millie Condon, one of Cork's goal scorers. Back it comes again, and that was the challenge there on Karen Kennedy, which was penalised by the referee. Aisling Thompson pleading her innocence. Referee not heeding it. It's going to be a free to Tipperary.
Yeah, in fairness to Marie Davison, she got out in front of Circa McCartan that time, tipped it on to Karen Kennedy. Won't have been overly happy with the delivery of the ball initially, but got on the second ball then before she was met with that tackle from Thompson. So she's down receiving a little bit of attention, but maybe this is the break that Tip might need just to gather themselves a little bit. You know, probably overly dependent on Emer McGrath frees at the moment. They have 2 points from play, one from Clodagh McIntyre and one from Grace O'Brien, one from Casey Hennessy, sorry, 3 of them, but just overly dependent on the frees at the moment, and as opposed to the Cork full forward line who are scoring from play for fun.
So the free coming up will be to Emer McGrath. Tip last in Croke Park on All-Ireland final day in 2006 when they lost to Cork. In the last 20 years, Cork have been in 14 senior camogie finals, winning 8. Here's McGrath. Wants to get there this year. A lot of work to do, and that doesn't help. That's a second wide by Tipperary. Libby Coppinger, 10 years playing for Cork. I think I need to check my wides on Tipperary. I think it's 4 now they've had, as Cork go for more and get another one. And that time it is Saoirse McCarthy, the player you were talking about a little while ago, who hadn't done a score yet against her name, but she has now.
Yeah, that's everyone from 9 through to 15 on the scoreboard for Cork, and it just shows their utter dominance from around the middle of the field into that full forward line. You know, they're shooting scores for fun out there, and Tip are just failing to get a grasp on them anywhere on the field at the moment.
This time they hope it'll stick up there in the half-forward line. There was a body check there on Emer Heffernan, and so it's going to be a free in once again for Tipperary. And once more, target practice for Emer McGrath. Emer, who got a championship goal this year against Waterford after coming on as a sub. It was a penalty that day. They've been building momentum. They were full of hope before this match, but here we are now within 3 minutes of the end of the first half, and they have quite a gap to make up. 10 between them. We can now make that 9.
Yeah, and as I said beforehand, I think their decision to play with the breeze showed real intent from Cork. You know, they were going to go at Tipperary from the start and probably try and get early goals, and they did just that, and they really continued to punish them.
Cathal Murray of Galway looking on. That time it bounces and bounces. A little touch there by Amy Quinlisk, did well, controlled it neatly, got it out into the centre. But there's a lot of rethinking to do in the Tipperary dressing room at half-time, and hope that they can get a better tune out of this team for the second half. This is over towards Laura Hayes, but doesn't reach her. It reached Emer Heffernan instead. They could use a big score, not if Amy Lee has her way. Calm, cool and collected. Got it out there as far as Maeve Murphy, the Ballinora player. Dodges around several players, a few of them losing hurleys. And in the end, the referee said, hang on, there was a tug there, so let's stop the play, free to Cork.
Yeah, again, and as lethal as Cork are up front, they're so composed at the back there as well, from Amy Lee all the way out. You know, Maeve Murphy's got on a good bit of ball at the back there, and just working it out through the lines, getting it to the right player, and either running up the field or delivering that pin perfect accurate ball into that full forward line.
Amy Lee, who's hoping to play in her 6th All-Ireland final in 2 weeks' time. Down it goes once again. Past Orla Cahalan, on towards Saoirse McCarthy, and McCarthy couldn't pull the shot away that time because it was a good hook on her, but the danger is not averted just yet. On her hands and knees in there was Karen Kennedy, helped out by Celine Guinan, and Guinan gets away there from Orla Cahalan. Put under pressure, but she did get her clearance away. Down it goes, but collected again by Cork and by Aisling Thompson. Into the middle as far as Laura Hayes, the St. Catherine's player. Slipped back out again by Tipperary, that time by Casey Hennessy from Clonulty Rossmore. Up towards Grace O'Brien, the Nina player. Holding on to it. He's trying to slip it in over the head of Isabel Sheehan, hoping for the best. But it's a difficult one there for Roisin Howard to make that her own. She did her level best. Reinforcements arrived for Cork, and they deal with that situation. They get it back under control again, and Laura Hayes storms forward. There'll be 3 minutes of additional time played at the end of the opening 30. On they go with Emma Murphy, one of the Cork stars of the first half, from outside the 45-metre line. Is she going to add to her tally? She is. She's now got a 4th point, all from open play. Terrific work by the Glen Rover star.
Yeah, and when you think of the turnaround there from a Cork point of view, you know, Tip on the attack up the left wing, position change across the right wing, and then Cork win it back and work it so well up and get it to the player in the best shooting position. That's Emma Murphy, and she's had a super first half for Cork.
This time Karen Kennedy, the Thurles Stars player, holds on too long. Disappointment for her. Disappointment for everybody from Tipperary, I think, at this stage, with a 10-point gap between the sides. And Cork, good value for all of that, because Tip really haven't been allowed to get going.
No, and Tip are doing a lot right, you know, but Cork are just, as I said, ravenous all over the field, and they're swarming that middle third, and once they get back, then they track back in numbers, and then when they attack in numbers as well. They get up to the support play, but when you have an inside line that's on fire like Saoirse McCartan, Amy O'Connor and Orla Cahalane, you just keep feeding them.
Saoirse McCarthy with the free, dropping down there dangerously. The goalkeeper will have to take it, and out it comes to Laura Linan. Izzy O'Regan there trying to win it back for Cork, and then Moiraid Evanston deals with that. Forward for Roisin Howard, trying to get the stick in there and try to win that against Maeve Murphy. Does well, shows the necessary determination to get that ball in there, in as far as Emer McGrath. What a goal would do for Tipperary and for the match. The referee saw a foul. It's got to be a free in. Chance for Tipperary to get something late on in this first half. Another 60 seconds or so still to go.
Yeah, Emer McGrath did really, really well to win that one in front of Libby Coppinger and then just hold her off long enough to draw the foul. But the support play just a little bit slow coming from a Tip point of view, and that's because so many of them have drifted back out the field to try to counteract the Cork dominance out there.
So Emer McGrath from Drum and Inch, ready to take this chance. Up and over the bar it goes. She's got 5 so far. They've all been from frees, all crucially important. So the gap tightens just a little bit. Once again, the Cork goalkeeper from the Piercy club. Straight down through the centre towards Saoirse McCarthy. Sorcha McCarthy let it run on. Tip have it back. Amy Quinlisk from Kilruan McDonough's. Under pressure there was Clodagh McIntyre. Looking to try and win it is Millie Condon for Cork, the number 12, right in the thick of all of that. And the referee blows the half-time whistle. And the sides go to the break with Cork comfortably ahead here. 9 points off at half-time. Ger Manley will be much the happier of the two managers. The opening goal coming after 7 minutes, scored by Amy O'Connor. Then on 21 minutes it was Millie Condon who drove home a rocket of a shot that Laura Linan in the Tip goal was powerless to save. So at half-time in the second of the semi-finals of the All-Ireland Senior Camogie, it's Cork 2-11, it's Tipperary 8 points. Back with Damien and his panel right after this.
Cork look to have 1 foot in the Glendinnick's All-Ireland Senior Camogie final. It's 2-11 to 8 Dilly Tipperary at half-time. The entire Cork forward line has scored. Emma Murphy set the tone. Glen Rovers girl 4 points from play. Wides, well, no wides for Cork. Unbelievable efficiency in front of goal. That is the main stat for the Leesiders here in this semi-final at half-time. I suppose we'll take it from the Cork puck out, Anna. So much of a foundation for the team. Can you tell me where they're getting change out of Tipperary and how they set up from that puck out?
Yeah, I suppose if you were to look at the way Cork set up, they focused really much on direct ball. So it's almost like they line up, almost you can see it there like a line, one behind the other, so that the ball then can spray out into the wings and players can run onto it. So even when we saw like Amy O'Connor's first goal, that largely came from Orla Cahalane standing in front of Saoirse McCartan, standing in front of Amy O'Connor, and then they have options. They can run out to the left, they can run out to the right. The amount of ball that was hit in right here into this corner, and Saoirse McCartan got onto it, then she had the option of putting the ball over the bar herself, over her shoulder, or passing the ball off, which is what we saw her do and count countless times. And it's what I can't understand is why Tip haven't got to grips with that, because they've done it multiple times. I mean, to think that Cork have got 13 scoring chances and they've scored 13 times. Like, that's remarkable. No wide in that first half. And it's because that's the way they set up. They were focusing really hard, Damien, in the last few weeks, but getting that direct ball in, running off the shoulder, recycling the ball. But they're troubling Tipperary because Tip can't handle the space.
Okay, so that T-shape up front, Anne-Marie, they have a big win behind them, but they're using it. What impresses you most about the Cork attack in that half?
Their full forward line, Damien, have been absolutely excellent. As you said, 210 from play in total. Here's Orla Cahalan, a brilliant ball, and they've done that. They've done that on repeat. Superb catch by Sorka McCartan, and look at this for a ball over the shoulder, over the bar. That is a sensational score, and they have done that, as I said, multiple times. Here we see the exact same play again. Ball goes down in the corner. Saoirse McCartan moving out. You can see her at the top of the screen. Moves out. Now this time she's bringing it back out, recycling the ball, not taking a pot shot from there. Ball comes back out. Watch the hand up from Amy O'Connor coming in, and watch the footwork. We'll see it on repeat again here. Super finish, but a brilliant ball back outside. But look at her footwork. She had 2 Tip players to beat.
That's class.
Little step inside. It is class. And a ball in the back of the net. You know, she's not a multiple all-star for no reason. Player of the match in the bag along the way this year. She's a massive leader and huge experienced player for Cork.
Tip don't look comfortable though. Like, you know, they look under pressure. They don't look confident coming out. Their body language, they look just confused defensively. They can't cope with the movement.
Well, is that Ursula? Because apart from the movement of the full forward line, as Anne-Marie has pointed out, the half forward line is on fire as well. 1-5 from the 3 players there. Is it any wonder Tip don't know what to do?
Yeah, and to be fair, they're playing to their strengths, and they're really getting on the breaking ball. Emma Murphy is playing that half forward role brilliantly. 4 points from play. She's doing so much work up and down the pitch, but still is able to get herself into the scoring position. And anyone that thinks that Saoirse is just an inside player, look at that for a strike over the shoulder. She's playing with great confidence all year, but today she's really leading from the front. Emma Murphy again involved in the play. Cork,
look at the space.
Yeah, Cork are on a different level. Their touch, their skill level, everything. I think Tip are confused because no player should be given that amount of space. Caoimhe McCarthy's running back towards her own goal, and Emma Murphy has all the time in the world, and she's four points from playing involved in so much.
Anne-Marie, break it down very quickly. If you're James Heffernan in that Tipperary dressing room, what 3 or 4 bullet points are you trying to get across in 15 minutes?
Tip need to get in their faces more, Damien. Stop letting them run with the ball. They need to put pressure. The ball that's coming in is sensational ball. Where's the pressure out the field? They need to start working harder, up the work rate.
One of the other big stories for Cork is their work rate and intensity. They've had 17 turnovers, and from that, Damien, they've got 1-6. I think Tipperary, they can't match. They can't stay with Cork's intensity. If they've any chance coming out in the second half, they're going to have to make every effort to, like Anne-Marie said, be in their face, because otherwise Cork are only going to grow in confidence.
Cork are the most impressive of the 4 teams we've seen today so far, Ursula.
Without a doubt, that 30 minutes, you know, we probably haven't seen 30 minutes of like it all year in the Camogie Championship. They've raised the standards.
Yeah,
they're bringing their best to today, and that's what they need.
Manley will have to be thrilled with how the girls are playing for that first 30 minutes.
Cork are absolutely relentless at half time. Anyway, back for Tip, we'll find out after this break. Welcome back to Semple Stadium. History made here for a double-header of Camogie semi-finals. A crowd of 10,311. That's about 2,500 more than the previous figure. So really exciting times there for the Camogie Association. Okay, we spoke about what Tipperary need to do. If you're Manley, Anna, what do you reinforce here now at the break?
Look, if it ain't broken, don't fix it, Damien. Like, the way the girls started in the first half is the way they should continue on. Like, that idea of creating space. And Ursula, alluded to it earlier on, but it's the quality ball that then goes into that space. That's what Cork have really, I suppose, executed. There's lots of players as well, support players coming off the shoulder. Laura Hayes
and against the wind, that's going to be crucial, Anna.
Yeah, and you can even see it. I mean, Aisling Thompson hasn't even had to play that much of a role yet, but you'll be able to see her stepping up here as well. As I said, it's the quality ball that they need to continue and do what they're doing.
From a Tipperary point of view, are we at the point of a performance for pride purely here now?
Get tight.
Is it that early?
Yeah, it's frustrating watching them, because we were even saying there at half time or off air that they're not even creating a foul. They're not close enough to create a foul. They're not applying any pressure on the Cork attack, and they're getting their scores far too easy. I think they're going to have to be some positional changes on the Tip team. As I said, they don't look comfortable in the full back line. Does Corinne Blair need to go back into the full back line? She was there last year. She was solid. She up until getting injured in the semi-final. They need to get more out. Caoimhe Stakelum, Emer McGrath, these girls are not on the ball. Now Cork deserve credit for that too, because they're man marking them. But Caoimhe's out wing forward and she's not involved in the play. I think the first time she hit the ball was maybe in the 23rd minute.
She'd come out the field to do that.
So she should be the player who's inside receiving the ball.
So Anne-Marie, you have a strong breeze behind you now. You do have a lethal full forward line. Do you get the ball in as quickly as possible?
Yeah,
Will
but
Cork
they need
allow
to
them to do
tighten up
that?
out the field, Damien. Like Emma Murphy is playing way back. And, she's bringing the ball forward, running that ball forward. But Tip need to get up on their players and get tight in them. And, throw everything at them now for the second half. Get aggressive in the tackle. They need to put their bodies on the line and look like they didn't even look like they're interested in the first, half.
OK, well, that's a statement and a half. We'll go back to our commentary team now and see will it be any better, or can Cork maintain their dominance? Back to Ger and Elaine.
Thank you once again, Damien. Yeah, as you say, a very good crowd here today. And they're still here and still maybe hoping that Tipperary can mount a big second half performance and mount a good comeback. We've been talking about ACL injuries quite a bit in Camogie. Another Cork player who has been beset by that in the last couple of weeks has been Caoimhe McCarthy, played against Tip in the league, and we wish her the very best. She's the latest one to go down with an injury. Second half gets underway, 9 between them. And there's a little push there by Celine Guinan, and that just gives Cork a free, which they take quickly. Tipperary moving back into position. Meanwhile, it's Cork who advance with purpose once again. And as ever, Amy O'Connor in the thick of it, looking at her handiwork. And that is the first wide of the match by Cork. And it's come in the opening half minute of the second half.
Yeah, but just goes to show how ravenous Cork are. Wanted to get that free taken quickly, wanted to go. Amy O'Connor nearly looked at going for a goal there, I think, if she got a chance, and that's their first wide after half an hour of Camogie.
Clodagh McIntyre getting that one down, but it's recovered once again by Cork and retained here by Emma Murphy. Slipping it back as far as Libby Coppinger, an experienced player. All the way across it comes, taken out of trouble here by Ava Fitzgerald. And passed as far as Izzy O'Regan, which may wear number 2, which is playing out around the half-back line. Cork still advancing. Saoirse McCarthy down on the ground and gets herself back up again quickly. The number 9 there for Tipperary is Casey Hennessy, backed by Emer Heffernan and directed forward by Karen Kennedy. But the Cork player who comes across to try and win that, Maeve Murphy, has it under control. Slips it back to Maeve Cahalan. Izzy O'Regan needs a second go to control that. 2 Tip players arrived immediately afterwards, but brushing aside the challenge was Libby Coppinger. And out it goes, out as far as Millie Condon. And Millie Condon was a goal scorer after 21 minutes. And she's moving forward again with menace, but this time the referee says, I think she's handled the ball too many times, 3 times.
Yeah, Millie with a lot of open grass in front of her there, just took off, and she's a clean pair of heels. She's got super speed, so he maybe just got a little bit excited looking up to see the options inside her, took that into her hand the third time, and credit to Clodagh McIntyre. She had stayed tracking back and stayed chasing, and it's more of that Tip need to put more pressure on Cork all over the field.
So in the 3rd minute of the second half, we look for the opening score of the half. Caoimhe Stakelum has it, and Caoimhe Stakelum has an opportunity here, and it's gone out for a 45. Saved there by Amy Lee. I'm not sure it was on target, but anyway, Amy Lee wasn't going to take a chance, and the end result will be that Emer McGrath will take the 45 and has a decent chance of making it an 8-point game.
Yeah, lovely touch there from Caoimhe Stakelum, took it up into her hand lovely, and it was a kind of a dropping ball just at that crossbar level, so Amy Lee, I think, taking no chances on it and knocked it out for the 45.
Caoimhe, who goes to school, or did go to school in Ursulines here, Ursuline Secondary School in Thurles. And they had a very good year in the Camogie, and now she's awaiting her results of the Leaving Cert. Meanwhile, Emer McGrath, one of the teachers, fires in the resultant 45 and puts it over the bar, and that's 6 points in all now that she's got.
Yeah, and Tip just needs to get a few more on the scoreboard up front, too overly dependent, much as Kilkenny were in the first game on Aoife Pendergast frees. Tip just over dependent now on Emer McGrath frees, and they need to get some of their scorers up front into play more.
From the Cork puck out, one back by Tipperary again by Emer Heffernan. Can she become a major factor in the second half? Across field it goes towards Grace O'Brien, couldn't hold it. Emma Murphy has it instead, almost dispossessed there by Caoimhe McCarthy, who stuck very tightly to her task that time. A push was used, however, and the end result is the referee gives the free to Cork, and they're going to bring their goalkeeper Amy Lee up to take it. James Heffernan in pensive mood.
Yeah, that was super defending there from Maeve Cahalane. You know, Grace O'Brien looked to be out in front of her, looked to get that ball into her hand on the hop, and just that touch at the last second from Maeve Cahalane brought it to the ground and brought it down and took it into possession as a Cork ball. And they've shown that all over the field today. You know, they're first to the ball, they're getting in those little flicks, and they're just making life really, really difficult for Tip.
Amy Lee, a big one, dropping around 20 metres out, batted back out by Amy Quinlisk. Tipperary have it, and it's Casey Hennessy slipping it off here as far as Caoimhe McCarthy. McCarthy goes strongly forward, has Grace O'Brien on her right-hand side. Challenge about to come in from two Cork players. She does well to slip in past each and every one of them, looking for something, looking for a player to give it to, and the referee in the end says she took too much out of it, held on too long. Shake of the head by Grace. A free against her, however.
Yeah, and if you're talking about work rate all over the field, we've lauded that Cork full forward line. It was Orla Cahalane on that occasion, back at left corner back, putting the pressure on Grace O'Brien there with Maeve Murphy and Aisling Thompson. You know, she tracked the whole way back the field. That's the energy, the work rate and the ravenous play that Cork have shown all day today. She wasn't afraid to track the whole way back to force that turnover, and they celebrated that like that's one of the things they really, really would look for.
Between League and Championship, this is Cork's 10th game of the year, and they have won 4, 3 of those coming in this championship. Celine Guinan down into open space, running across over there towards it is Caoimhe Stakelum, but mopping it up once again is Maeve Murphy, reading the situation well, showing utter commitment. Difficulty taking it up onto her stick, however, under pressure there from Stakelum, and the end result is going to be another free for Cork.
Yeah, and again, Eva Fitzgerald there just with that little flick at the right time on Caoimhe Stakelum, just didn't let her get that ball into her hand. And once the ball goes to ground at all today, it's Cork's, it's red swarms in around it, and they get there in numbers, and they'll be hugely impressed with their scoring up front, obviously, but their backs have been really, really good as well. They haven't given Tip a chance to get a foothold in this game.
Amy Lee coming out once again to take it. This seems to be the pattern whenever they have a free, which is from anywhere around 45 metres from their own goal. Amy Lee comes out to take it. It slows the game down a little bit. In the first match, I noticed that there were 7 minutes of stoppage time, so the referee will be noting any delays like this, I'm sure, and tagging on minutes at the end. Tipperary player down on the ground. Did you have a view of that?
No, I was watching Amy Lee taking the free, so I'm not sure who's on the ground even at the moment.
It looks to be number 9, is it?
Casey Hennessy, I think, down.
Casey Hennessy. Casey, who's been an Ashburn Cup winner with UL in recent years. Thankfully back on her feet again, the Clonalty Rossmore player. Point scorer already in this game.
Yeah, I think just an altercation maybe with Aisling Thompson around the middle of the field, just on the top of our screen there while that free was being lined up. I didn't see exactly what happened, but the two of them definitely came together, but Casey back on her feet again.
So it's going to be another free anyway. The end of all of that, which will now be taken by Laura Hayes going back to take it. So they opt this time not to bring the goalkeeper out. Hayes drilling it through the centre here towards Orla Cahalane, off her stick, and the linesperson over there, who is Liz Dempsey from Kilkenny, saying it's going to be a Tipperary ball. Lining up to take it, Emer Lukman. Nicely cut forward. But again, the extra player back there sweeping for Cork, able to take it, deliver it with accuracy, and then is fumbled by Emma Murphy. But Cork, however, win it back. And taking it up here is Maeve Cahalane, about to be challenged there by Clodagh McIntyre, on to Aisling Thompson. And it reaches Millie Condon, the Ballinascarty player. Henry Ford territory. All the way downfield it goes, down there towards Amy O'Connor. Won back again by Tipperary, and Amy Quinlisk, and the Kilruane McDonough's player is fouled, so the free is going to be to Tip.
Yeah, and again, it's Emma Murphy on this one here, just in front of us. You know, when Tip won that ball around the middle of the field, she turned and she was gone straight back to her own full back line, picked up that ball and delivered it in. You know, she's doing a huge amount of work for Cork. As most of the players around the field, you know, they're covering massive ground and tracking back and covering for one another, and that allows them then break forward at pace once they turn over.
We're nearly 9 minutes into the second half. No score from Cork in the second half so far. 1 point for Tipperary. Here's Grace O'Brien. They need something. It's gone flashing off a stick. I think it was a brilliant save by Amy Lee, and that's the reason it's gone for a 45. They needed a goal, Tipperary, that time, but Lee to the rescue.
Yeah, I think by the smile on her face you can tell that she did get that hurl to it. Super save for her, because it was heading for that top corner. Grace O'Brien was finishing it really well, but Amy Lee got full stretch across up to that top corner and delighted with herself with that save. That's one for the card.
Absolutely brilliant work by Amy Lee that time, denying Grace O'Brien. So the resultant 45 about to be taken by Emer McGrath. The only point we've had of the second half so far has been a 45 scored by Emer McGrath. Slow pick up to the second after a pretty riveting first half by Cork in particular. And that is McGrath striking and doing what she had to do. So 2 45s by her, 7 points in all. She got 9 when the teams met here in the championship 5 weeks ago. That was in the group section. Today it's all about getting into the All-Ireland final in 2 weeks' time in Croke Park. Amy Lee hitting it long, down towards Emma Murphy. Won back by Tipperary and by Caoimhe McCarthy originally. And now driven away by Emer McGrath. And that was a rather hit and hope one by McGrath. Lacked accuracy. Certain degree of frustration in the way in which she hit that one, I think.
Yeah, absolutely a wrong option on that occasion. Look, she hadn't a whole lot on inside. She probably hadn't drifted back in herself yet from that last 45, but certainly when you compare the movement of Tip up front to that of Cork.
That's a poor puck out this time. Grace O'Brien was onto it, but then onto it immediately after that was Laura Hayes to get Cork out of difficulty, and coming across to try and make sure there's no further problems was Maeve Cahalane, but it's pinched by Caoimhe Stekelam, and here's Grace O'Brien, and that's nicely over the bar. Denied a goal a little while ago, but Grace O'Brien has now got a point in each half for Tipperary. They've done the only scoring of the second half. There were 9 between them at half time, and that's now down to 7. Or down to 6, is it? 6.
Down to 6, yeah. Look, Cork will be disappointed with that restart. They've been really good on them in the first half, but they were turned over very easily on that occasion, and possible goal opportunity, but Grace O'Brien with the point just to narrow that gap. And you just feel that if this Tip crowd can get behind Tip now, that there is scores there for them to get, but they just need to go after this game now.
They're fighting hard, but that is a wayward pass there. They challenge afterwards, but it was Lily Coppinger who went in for dear life to make sure that she won that for Cork. Cork's last score was in the 31st minute of the game. There were 2 more minutes played after that in stoppage time at the end of the first half, but now pegged back to 6 points. Is it possible for Tipperary yet to pull this out of the fire? Cork were sweeping past them in the first half, ahead by 9 points at half time, and it looked most improbable. But you never know. Sport is funny. That is an injury down there, as you can see, to Millie Condon. That's the second time I think she's been in the wars.
Yeah, and this won't suit Tip. You know, they were just starting to build up maybe a little bit ahead of steam, start to ask a few questions of Cork, and to slow down the play and the break in the play probably won't suit them. They prefer to have kept going. Maybe this might give Cork a chance just to take a breather, regroup again, and organise themselves at the back.
Yeah, I think the two managers will be having a little chat with their fellow mentors just to see whether or not changes in personnel are going to be required. James Heffernan must be very pleased with the energy and the effort that his side has put in at the start of the second half. But we are only, about 12 minutes into the half, and there's a fair bit of time still to go. The Galway team there, still around, still looking at what's going on in the second semi-final. They'll be meeting the winner in 2 weeks' time, and that's going to be a free in and a chance for Cork to get a score. So it's got to be a free, which will be taken by Amy O'Connor. She scored a goal and 2 in the first half. So it's a long time since they got their last score. I think it's about 14 minutes in all since they last pointed. So here's Amy O'Connor. Up into the air, and it has the necessary level of accuracy, and Amy O'Connor's got a goal and 3. And they'll be hoping now, Cork, that this will be where they get back into the groove again and play with a bit more fluency.
Yeah, look, and in fairness to them, the ferocity and the speed at which they played that first half was always going to be hard to maintain for the full 60 minutes. So I think they'll be happy to slow it down in patches where they can, but at the same time they need to keep on top of Tip and not give them any foothold in the game to mount a comeback.
Good hook that time by Laura Hayes. Problem still in there as Cueva Stakelum was going in. Out over the end line it's gone. And that's another wide by Tipperary. That's 4 in all now. Very quickly, here's this wonderful hook just a moment ago there. It was by the Cork player on Karine Blair. In full flight is Saoirse McCarthy. Dishes it up there towards Sorcha McCartan. Hits it with force, with accuracy, and it's over the bar. Given half a chance, that's all she needs. Wonderful forward from the bars. 3 points by Sorcha McCartan. That's 2 in a row by Cork now.
And it was from that super puck out from Amy Lee. Really quick restart after the wide ball there. Straight out to Saoirse McCarthy. Carried it the length of the field before finding Sorcha McCartan inside, and she duly punished.
And now it's Cork again taking control. Aisling Thompson down towards Amy O'Connor. O'Connor trying to get by Amy Quinlisk. Making an angle for herself, but it's a little tight, and she's put that one wide. It's a second wide of the second half by Amy O'Connor on this occasion.
Yeah, and frustration from Laura Linan there. You could see in their quarter-final win over Clare, they loved getting the quick restarts away, getting up the field, but Cork have all those options covered today.
Here's Emer Heffernan trying to get away from the attentions of the Cork marker. Gets her shot in, gets the point as well. First of the afternoon. Really good score by Emer Heffernan. Very much all her own work. They were chasing after Isabel Sheehan, trying to get close to her, but that was a fine score.
Yeah.
13-12.
She was one of the players that did really well in that quarter-final. From those quick restarts, she got 3 points, and she was on the end of a lot of Laura Linan's puck-outs in Croke Park that day.
Once again, it's Emma Murphy now. Had a great first half, 4 points from open play. This time dispossessed. Well taken back by Karen Kennedy into the centre. It was Grace O'Brien who was back there helping. Fed ahead there by Emer Lukeman down into the corner. It's 1 against 3, and the big player in the middle for Tipperary is Cueva Stakelum, big tall player. Keeping it there in Tip possession with Roisin Howard, and that final shot, has it gone in? It has. Cork are disputing it, but it's Cueva Stakelum who comes up trumps. There's no Hawkeye today because it's undergoing maintenance. The point scored, it counts, and there are 6 between them again.
Yeah, and you just wonder where this Tip team was in the first half. You know, that fluidity, that ball retention by Emer McGrath inside to pop the pass to Cueva Stakelum. They're starting to find their feet in there if they can get enough ball into them.
And they're working hard on the half-back line once again. Celine Guinan that time getting it. Tipper about to make a change. That's fed forward there by Karine Blair. Down. Roisin Howard trying to get it past Maeve Murphy. Not easily done. Over there is Emer Stakelum. Also there is Roisin Howard. Howard has it. Playing it into the clear here. In there towards Clodagh McIntyre. Looking to try and win that ball. Did she touch it on the ground? Cork kick it out. Control it here with Laura Hayes. And Laura Hayes tries to get away from the attentions of the Tip player and passes it back outside as far as Emma Murphy. Murphy back into the forwards again. Tip there with possession. This time it is Maureen Evanston. Under a lot of pressure because Sorcha McCartan is making quite a nuisance of herself down there where the Tip backs are concerned, and they're finding it exceedingly difficult to get space to get that ball away. We're about to have a Tip change, and Lucy Purcell will be the player coming in just a moment. She came in the game against Cork 5 weeks ago, and she's about to come in now as a replacement for Casey Hennessy.
Yeah.
So midfielder for midfielder.
Yeah, and if you look at that Cork full forward line on that occasion, the work rate of Sorcha McCartan, you know, we've lauded her scores in the first half, the way she's able to put the ball over the bar, create space for herself, but that absolute dogged work rate just to stop Tip coming out on that occasion, that's been, you know, one of Cork's trademarks today, and they've worked so hard all over the field, and when you have your full forward line fighting to retain possession like that, it makes the job of everyone else that bit easier out the field.
So still those 6 points or 2 goals between the teams. Over 12 and a half minutes still to go to the end of the 60 minutes. Plus, I would imagine at least another 4 or 5 tagged on at the end of it. So quite a lot of Camogie still to be played. And there's Orla Cahalan taking the chance. She was in the clear. Nobody was marking her. And that's a point in each half for Orla Cahalan of St. Finbarrs.
Yeah, and Tip will be disappointed with that. You know, they had it in their possession a couple of times. Should have probably cleared it and didn't. And you don't give the likes of Orla Cahalan a second chance.
That is Grace O'Brien, who fed it forward. There as far as Karine Blair. In the end, Emer Heffernan. And Heffernan confidently struck that one and gets a score for it as well. 2 in a row by Emer Heffernan for the Tipperary team. Set up by Karine Blair initially. Completed there by the wonderful Emer Heffernan.
Yeah, brilliant score from her. The first for us on the left, that one on the right. She's popping up all over that half forward line. Grace O'Brien has actually moved out from that tip full forward line to around the middle of the field, and she's getting on a bit of ball out here as well and just increasing that supply inside.
Amy Lee once again driving it down through the centre. They were getting a lot of joy out of that in the opening 30 minutes. Tipperary trying to work and try to win it back, but that's difficult when you've got players of the class of Saoirse McCarthy up against you there. Trying to juggle that one. Sticks come in to try and deny her, but she holds possession, gets it out here as far as Emma Murphy, who has work to do to get it under control. Caoimhe McCarthy breathing down her neck. In it comes here as far as Millie Condon. Condon, change of direction. In as far as Aisling Thompson, and Thompson would like to finish this with a score, but doesn't do so. Under-hitting it, and Laura Linan is able to get it back downfield once again. Cork have the numbers over there. First of all, it is Isabel Sheehan, and she was pushed in the back by Roisin Howard. There were others there as well, ready to assist should Isabel Sheehan have needed somebody to come and help.
Yeah, needless free there for Roisin Howard to go away, you know, facing the Cork player facing their own sideline, you know, had a lot of work to do. Roisin Howard should have just probably stood her up. The support play was coming from Grace O'Brien, and here's Amy Lee now ambling out again to take this free, and as you said, just happy to wind down the clock for Cork another little bit.
A few more changes coming up in just a moment here. Numbers 17 and 22 about to come in for Tipperary, and we'll just wait on that in just a moment. First of all, it's Amy Lee who strikes this one, but straight to Karine Blair. Held off. This time it is Amy Quinlisk who's in some difficulty. Maureen Evanston winning it, and getting back out it comes towards Karen Kennedy now. Kennedy advancing, showing a lot of style and elegance, getting it downfield, but away to the one player she didn't want to hit it to. The opposing free player at the back, who was Ava Fitzgerald. Under pressure from Emma McGrath. One back. Again, the challenges come in. There's great commitment from players all over the park. How will this finish? It finishes with a Tipperary score. That's how. Lovely point hit over the bar by Karine Blair.
Yeah, lovely piece of skill by Emer McGrath out on the side there to get that block, and Ava Fitzgerald looked like she had all the work done, and then Tip did really, really well to keep it and to retain possession until they get Karine Blair into that scoring position, and a score for them and a real lift for them now if they can kick on from here.
So Sarah Corcoran and Kate Ralph coming on. Players going off are Clodagh McIntyre and Emer Lukeman. Cork with a change as well. Number 23 comes on for them, and that is Orla Mullins.
Yeah, and she's replacing Emma Murphy, who has had a super game for Cork. You know, surprised maybe to see her coming off, but she's done an awful lot of work. You know, maybe it's just a case of fresh legs there now. Got 4 points on the scoreboard, and as I said, got through a world of work out there.
So Orla Mullins on. Her dad was a former Carlow hurler. This is Karen Kennedy. Again, taken there by Livy Coffinger. Too many balls played forward there to the opposing loose man or woman in the other team. And the end result has been that the sweepers have been able to pick it up time and again for both Cork and for Tipperary. Coming out with it this time and with great determination is Izzy O'Regan. Winning it back is Maureen Evanston, losing it that time. And then there's an injured player there, and the referee's going to halt the play.
Yeah, I think it's Maureen Evanston down just after that little bit of play, but you know, Tip now starting to find their feet a little bit, storming into it, maybe not giving Cork as much space or as much time as they had been giving them in the first half, and you know, they'll be disappointed when they look back on that first half that they didn't step it up a little bit sooner. But in fairness to Cork, with the energy they brought to that first half, it was always going to be hard to maintain for the full 60 minutes, and it's just now whether Tip can make it count.
It's only a 5-point game, but we've got about 8 minutes left. Karen Kennedy all the way down towards Stakelum. Two committed Cork defenders. Eventually they win it back. Maeve Murphy, challenged there by Emer McGrath. The referee didn't like the nature of the shoulder. The end result is going to be a free out to Cork.
Yeah, disappointing from Tip again. Look, Caoimhe Stakelum maybe just could have got a little touch on that one, but Maeve Murphy did really well to sweep back, and was Emer McGrath, I think, checked her run on the way back out there and halted her in her process, and she's gone down, and this just plays into Cork's hands. You know, it runs down the clock a little bit more for them.
Well, Tip have outscored Cork in the second half by 7 points to 3. It hasn't had the flow that we had in the first half, but then we had the utter dominance of Cork to a very large extent, which took from the contest. This time in the second half, Tipperary have put it up to them, but they found it difficult getting those necessary scores to make it even a tighter game. Still, only 5 between them.
Yeah, and look, Cork have been so clinical up front. As we said, they didn't miss a scoring opportunity in that first half. They've been equally as clinical maybe in the second half. Might have left a couple behind them. I think they've had maybe 2 wides in that second half, but they've been so ferocious all over the field, you know, turn and tip over time and time again, and getting the scores from those turnovers in the first half. Tip have probably tightened up a little bit and maybe now forced to just push on and try and see if they can get something from this game.
And that free from Amy Lee has gone out over the sideline, and the end result is going to be more pressure back on the Cork defence once again. Going back to take this one is the corner forward, Grace O'Brien, now operating somewhere around the half-forward line, come midfield. Her connection good enough, but taken here by Aisling Thompson. Oh, given away to the substitute, Kate Ralph. The other sub, Lucy Purcell, comes in. Here's Ralph again. Kate Ralph trying to make a difference, pursued by several Cork players. She took too many steps with it in her endeavour, and the end of all of that is going to be a Cork free.
Yeah, just a little bit of indecision, I think, there on that occasion. Got out into the space, maybe had an opportunity to get a half shot away, but opted to try maybe pass it out to the player outside her again and just forced that into, I think, hopping it in her hand again. So a free out and a bit of relief for Cork at the back.
And this free is taken by Maeve Murphy. Very near the sideline, looking to try and keep it in play. It's out over the sideline there. Orla Cahalan doing her level best, but not managing to keep it in. Another change coming up for Cork now, and Hayley Ryan of Blackrock is coming in. Player going off will be Aisling Thompson.
Yeah, and Cork just injecting a little bit of energy maybe around the field again. You know, as I said, that first half must have taken a lot of energy, a lot of work, a lot of heavy hits went in. So, you know, Germany now probably feels that Tip getting a little bit of a foothold on the energy front. They've brought in a couple of young, fresh subs as well. So maybe just trying to counteract that and just try and see this one out if he can.
Down it goes, and Cork have it once again. Back there it's Isabel Sheehan. It's maybe a little bit tighter than they would have hoped at this stage, but they're still 5 points up and looking to try and make a date with Galway in Croke Park in a couple of weeks' time. The Tip still battling, this time losing it to Amy O'Connor. She drifted out from the inside forward line, went in there, tried to locate Orla Cahalan, one back however, and Tipperary have it once more, and Maureen Everston advancing. The little hand pass here wasn't directed terribly well and given away to Izzy O'Regan. That kind of elementary mistake really breaks the momentum the Tip were trying to build up. Orla Mullins has it, slipping it there to the other sub, Hayley Ryan. Ryan back to Mullins again. Between the two of them, they try to engineer a score, and they managed to work one as well. Good play indeed by the substitutes. Orla Mullins from Sarsfields.
Yeah, and that's just a little bit of composure, I suppose, that Cork have, that Tip have failed to find. You know, Maureen Everson had that ball going forward, needed to retain possession, needed to get it to a Tip hand, didn't. Cork turned it over, worked really hard, and then Orla Mullins and Hayley Ryan combining really well for that score for Mullins.
That was their first score, Cork, in 8 minutes. Grace O'Brien back. And this shot driven in there, but driven to the right-hand side. And I think that is now 6 wides by Tipperary in this game. Still 6 between them. Izzy O'Regan down here, and controlled with some difficulty by Hayley Ryan, out over the sideline. It'll be Tip who will have the possession.
Just a few little mistakes creeping into Cork's game the last few minutes. Think of Amy Lee's puck out over the line there. That one by Hayley Ryan just failed to control it. They've given away maybe 3 line balls, but Tip just haven't made them count.
Well, this time they tried to keep it inside if they can at all. Emer McGrath was the one who was targeted. Now the reinforcements arrive. Karine Blair trying to storm through a number of challenges. Back out here it comes again. That shot there was by Lucy Purcell. Into the square it goes. Cork defending valiantly. Tip with fewer numbers in the inside forward line. At this stage you'd have thought they might have tried to put a few more bodies in and around the Cork square. Down on the ground there is Roisin Howard, picked up eventually by Emer Heffernan, trying to work the opportunity, Heffernan, and the referee says too many steps in the end, held on too long anyway, and it's a free out for Cork.
Yeah, and that ravenous hunger again from Cork. I think I counted 7 or 8 Cork bodies around Emer Heffernan there when she was trying to get that ball up, and really disciplined tackling from them. Didn't give away the free, didn't give away the penalty, forced the overcarrying and got themselves the free out. You know, they've been really good at that tackling. They've harassed every blue and gold jersey they've seen today, and that was just synonymous of what they've done really well.
A measure of relief for Cork that they get the decision and the free out taken by Amy Lee. Dropping down beyond to Saoirse McCarthy. And this should be picked up. It is by Sarah Corcoran. Played in last year's semi-final in Nolan Park in Kilkenny when Tipperary lost to Galway. And the semi-final problems that Kilkenny have had year after year look like they are being maintained as we're heading into the 60th minute here in Semple Stadium, and they find themselves 2-15 to 15 points behind. Another Tipperary sub coming on, and this time it will be Niamh Tracy. Going off is Niamh McGrath. That's curious.
Yeah, Emer McGrath did take a little bit of a knock there in that last passage of play, so whether it's maybe an injury or whatever, maybe just, I suppose, Niamh Tracy in on the edge of the square, known to get a couple of goals, so that's obviously what Tip are targeting now as we come into injury time.
So they take off their leading scorer, and Saoirse McCarthy goes forward, a little block on it that time. So the heat taken out of it by the intervention of Emer Heffernan back there. But while she's back, they lack the numbers at the other end. Cork have extra players, and Cork should deal with this one. That's what they're trying to do anyway. Across there came Ava Fitzgerald. In came Caoimhe Stakelum in the white helmet on the right-hand side. The other player in the white helmet down there, helping them out right now, is Kate Ralph. And it's Cork who have it back again here. Laura Hayes battling as ever. Across the field it goes, not maybe the thing that her colleagues were expecting her to do. In goes Emer Heffernan again in the yellow helmet. Niamh Tracy, number 24 there on the left, waiting for it to come out. But if it does come out, it'll come out via Libby Coppinger, who has refused to yield an inch to the opposition today. Battled bravely and committedly all the way through the game.
Yeah, Cork will be disappointed to have given away that free. That's how well they've played today. You know, they've been disappointed to even concede frees back there. They've been ruthless from Amy Lee with that super save from Grace O'Brien all the way up to Orla Cahalan at the far end. All over the field, they've just been dominant, and they've been really ruthless.
4 minutes to be added on, and we're already 1 minute into that. This is going to be Caoimhe Stakelum who will take this. They have to try and get a goal and hope for the best. Oh, she's put it over the bar anyway. I'm sure she was trying to keep it lower than that. A second point by Caoimhe Stakelum.
Yeah, there's definitely power in it, and it was heading for that crossbar, but just tipped over it. And you know, Tip will be happy to have gotten the score, but I suppose Amy Lee will be delighted to have seen that go over the crossbar and just restart Cork again and just see out these last 3 minutes.
It's a 5-point game, and Cork will probably feel that should well and truly be enough at this stage, with time ticking away in their favour. So line ball, it will beat for Cork. Here's Sorcha McCartan, not a good one. Straight it comes to Maureen Everston, and Everston fires it away back downfield again. Batted down by Izzy O'Regan. Tearing after it there went Laura Hayes. In comes O'Regan. Slipping it down towards Saoirse McCarthy, a point in the first half. Distributing it this time towards Amy O'Connor, trying to win her battle over there with Sarah Corcoran. Holds off Corcoran, gives it back there to Orla Mullins, and Mullins now gets a second point, and I'm sure reminds Ger Manley if there's a place to be got in the All-Ireland final team, she'd like to be considered.
Yeah, and she was a huge player for Cork in last year's All-Ireland semi-final in Nolan Park as well. And you know, what a great headache for Ger Manley to have now for the next 2 weeks. You know, these players chomping at the bit and trying to get a starting position. And look, Cork have produced an absolutely devastating first half with Camogie here. That's mad to think that that's only, I think, their 5th point of the second half, but they've been dominant all over.
Tip are still trying to somehow get through. Ava Fitzgerald holds off everything and drives it away out towards Saoirse McCarthy. And the Corsi Rovers player collects, slips it back in there towards Orla Cahalad. Won back by Celine Guinan in the last minute of the 4. At the discretion of the referee, it's on with Grace O'Brien. And O'Brien wants to have the last say and may well have done so. That is a 3rd point by Grace O'Brien. Never, ever, ever giving up. But very late at this stage, 2-16 to 17 points. Ger Manley and his team on their way to Croke Park, and a rematch once again with Galway. Waiting now for the final whistle to come. First of all, it is a fine catch there taken by Corinne Blair. She's anxious to get it in as quick as possible, still believing something special might happen. Nicely down, nicely collected by Caoimhe Stakelum. Blocked, goes after it again, but this time it's Maeve Murphy who's keeping tabs on her as the referee blows the final whistle at Semple Stadium, and Cork have beaten Tipperary and they have advanced once again to this year's All-Ireland final. It will be another rematch between Cork and Galway. Cork into a 6th All-Ireland final in a row. The fans come on to celebrate their heroes. All the real good work was done, of course, in the first half.
Yeah, look, it was an absolutely devastating first half of Camogie from Cork there. They were absolutely outstanding. They were like a team that had never played in an All-Ireland semi-final, an All-Ireland final before. Such was the frosty they fought to get back there, and they just blew Tip out of the water all over the field, and Tip couldn't live with them. And in fairness to Tip, at half-time they regrouped and they came out and gave a much better account of themselves in the second half, but that will be no consolation to them. Look, the Cork were outstanding in that first half. As I said, 2-11, 2-10 of it from play. Didn't have a wide, scored every scoring opportunity that they created. It's absolutely devastating for Ger Manley's crowd. Like, they just blew Tip out of the water, as I said. And look, for James Heffernan and Tipperary, they'll be disappointed that they didn't get to the pace of the game quicker, but I'm not sure anyone would have got to the pace of Cork in that first half today.
Based upon what we've seen, the 2 best teams in the country are going to meet in the final.
Absolutely, based on the 2 semi-finals here today. As I said, Galway, I think, will have a lot to think about going away. They probably left Kilkenny in the game for a little bit longer. Cork gave Tip no opportunity.
Final score, it's Cork 2-16, Tipperary 17 points.
Thank you very much, Ger. Thank you very much as well, Elaine. Thoughts on that? Girls, starting with you, Ursula. Cork's first half gave them the platform, but Tipperary pushed on a bit in the second.
Yeah, look, it was the first half performance that really sealed the deal for Cork. They probably took the foot off the gas in the second half, and Tip probably raised their intensity and brought greater urgency, but overall there's no doubt about it that Cork were fully deserving winners today.
Inspired by Libby Coppinger, she is our player of the match, and she is down with Cahill.
And now Brian Malloy, the president of the Camogie Association, is here to present the Glen Dimplex Player of the Match Award to the Cork full-back Libby Coppinger. Libby, congratulations. You'll be delighted to be back in another All-Ireland final.
Oh yeah, definitely. I suppose pure relief is all that you have right now. Like, it was down to the wire. Every ball, you know, you had to die for it. So yeah, look, we're delighted. And yeah, delighted to be back training Tuesday night.
You're in a great situation at half-time. How strong was that breeze out there then to play into in the second half?
Yeah, jeekers, it was fierce tough. Do you know, I suppose you try and take your chances when you have it, and then look, we wanted to push on a bit in the second half, and we knew Tip were going to come at us, so at the same time, and you know, yeah, it felt a lot stronger when you're playing into it than you're playing with it. So yeah, look, tough to get over.
But how pleased were you that how well you managed the game then in that second half?
Yeah, look, I suppose that's a big thing we're talking about. You know, composure's massive. Just we knew they were going to get a purple patch. They always do. They have a serious team. So yeah, just trying to manage it. I said to Emily, we need to get a score, and then the girls went up and got it. So, you know, incredible team performance, and we're just delighted.
And another All-Ireland final against Galway to look forward to now.
Oh, jeekers, yeah. I suppose we know each other very well at this stage, so it's going to be a cracker, no doubt. And yeah, we'll get recovered and focus on looking at them then for the next 2 weeks.
Libby, well done, congrats.
Cheers, thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
So Saoirse McCarthy has joined me now, and thanks to Libby as well, player of the match. Saoirse, your thoughts on that? First half gave you an unbelievable platform. Tip came at you in the second half, but you had enough composure and calm, I thought, to get over that line too.
Yeah, I think we knew what we had to do playing with the wind in the first half, and it was probably just lay down a marker and come out all guns blazing. I suppose it's an All-Ireland semi-final at the end of the day, and you know, we've had a 4-week break, and I think everyone was just buzzing to get back onto the field and play a match. And I suppose when you're playing a team in their home pitch as well, you want to get out the traps quick enough, and thankfully we did and held on to it then in the second half.
The energy, the enthusiasm, the bit of the intensity, the work rate was absolutely off the charts for a team who hadn't played in weeks, in the first half especially.
Yeah, I think some of the girls there, like you see the work rate Millie Condon has around the middle third, and that's why she's been playing all year, and she's made some statement, got in for a goal and everything, and I'd say she'd be celebrating now later, because you know she's some woman, and I'm just delighted for every single one of us. You know, I suppose we had a really rough start to the year. You're probably going to mention that.
Yeah, I suppose we were going to say we've probably been talking about the huge turnover of players all year. Then obviously the league and Munster Championship didn't go your way. What do you think was the kind of turning point in the year to get you now 4 wins in a row unbeaten in the championship?
I just think...
you lost the first round, sorry, against Galway. But
no, we beat them.
Or beat them, sorry.
Yeah, look, I suppose we played the league and the Munster was very shaky. You know, I suppose I'd be lying if I said, you know, we didn't have doubts, but I suppose it's the belief we have in our dressing room. Yes, we lost a load of players, but we still have so much experience still there. So I suppose it's holding on to that, sticking together as a group and not worrying about anything else outside it. And I suppose we went away between the Munster and the Championship and really worked on ourselves, and, you know, like, to go unbeaten now in the Championship so far and into another All-Ireland final is a massive achievement after losing, 15 or 16 girls from last year. So, look, I suppose that's done now, and it's looking ahead for 2 weeks' time against Galway.
You still have a core group of players there, though, Saoirse, huge experience. All of your starting forwards scored today, and one of your midfielders, and Orla Mullins, came on and scored 2 points as well.
Yeah.
You know, I think your forwards were really impressive. The fluidity at times, your work rate together, running off the shoulder as well, and your support play.
Yeah, 100%. You said it there, and like that's coming from the work rate that our backs and the platform that they have, and Laura Hayes and Aisling working in the middle of the field there, and you have Saoirse in flying form. You know, she got player of the match in the Waterford game as well, and Orla Mullins, like you said, coming on. She's been away for majority of the year. To just come in and slot back in is a massive boost to everyone.
Seriously, a lot of people, you know, at half time when you're behind everyone, you know, it's easy to talk in the dressing room what you need to improve on. But you had put in such a brilliant first half. When you went into the dressing room at half time, like, what was the general feel? Like, was it, you know, keep doing what you're doing, or like what was it you wanted to work on the second half?
I suppose keep doing more of the same thing. Like, it was 0-0, you know, you have to go back out with the same mindset in the second half. And I know we knew Tip were going to come at us, like we knew they were going to have a purple patch. They're a great side, and in a home venue they were never going to lie down, so we knew it was coming. It was just managing the game as best we could and closing out the win.
This is your 5th final against Galway since 2015. Cork have won 2, Galway have won 2.
Don't tell the Galway woman anything.
Say nothing.
It's going to be a juicy final again, Saoirse.
Yeah, and look, the last couple of years have been
amazing.
The last 3 years, the last 3 times we met each other in the semi-final or final, they've been unbelievable games, and I expect that the next day will be much the same. And
you've brought Camogie to another level, I think. You know, the standard of finals, and last year's and the year before, you have played in absolutely incredible finals. Your credit to the Camogie, and it's great for Camogie to see such good games being played.
It is, Saoirse, and there's a record crowd here today for semi-final as well, over 10,000 people. Final question then, just how exciting is it to go back to Croke Park against your rivals with some new players on the team coming through as well? It's going to be a fantastic experience for them as well.
100%. It's our first time playing Croke Park now in 2026, and it'll be a first time for a lot of girls, and it's excitement. It's what you train in January and February and do that slog for, and it's where you want to be on All-Ireland final day. And look, I'm just so happy that we got through it now, and we look forward to it in 2 weeks' time.
Seriously,
I'm so happy as well.
Yeah.
Well done.
Congratulations, Anna. And thank you so much, Saoirse, as well.
We're
going to take a break now. Saoirse's gang will be back on August the 9th in Croke Park, playing Galway again in another All-Ireland final. You're welcome back to FBD Semple Stadium, where we now know that the All-Ireland final for 2026, the Glen Dimplex Senior All-Ireland Camogie final, will be between Cork and Galway on Sunday, August the 9th. We'll be there for that triple header of finals as well. Cannot wait. Should be a great game. But from now, let's hear from the winning Cork manager, Ger Manley.
Ger, congratulations. You must be thrilled with the performance of your team, and you're back in another final.
Yeah, look, delighted. We knew we'd have a very hard game today against a very good team. Look, we got a very good start, which I think made the difference in the end, because the wind is very strong out there. And we said if we had it, we'd try to build up a bit of a lead. And look, just tough going the second half, but look, I thought we deserved it.
What was the key to that fast start from your team?
I suppose, look, we were looking for goals early on. I suppose we have a very good inside line. We get the ball into them as quick as we could. And I think, look, Amy O'Connor, she's lethal inside. Saoirse had a very good game, so is Orla Callan. And look, if you have good players, get the ball into them. But look, we know we have to improve for the next one now as well.
From a management point of view, is it pleasing then how you managed it in the second half into that breeze that you mentioned?
There's senior girls out there. Thompson was phenomenal. She was injured coming to the match, but she played through it. Laurie Hayes, all those girls. Debbie Coppinger was outstanding fullback. Maeve Murphy. But I mean, they're a seasoned team. Now, we lost a lot of players. It was a hard year for us, but look, our aim always was to get to here, I suppose, Thurles today and get to Croke Parks in the week, and look, we're delighted.
And you mentioned injuries and stuff like that. Do you feel like it's coming together now at the right time?
Look, we lost Keith McCarthy, we lost a cruciate and a hamstring the last 2 weeks. You have McAuliffe, under 23 player Keith McCarthy, they're a cruciate. But look, I suppose from the start of the year where we were and to get to where we are, we're delighted there. We had a lot of players that were missing, I suppose, and retired and stepped away and gone to Australia with the AFL, and to come back to where we are, we're thrilled. Anything from now on is a bonus.
Well, it's another All-Ireland final against Galway now, team you know well.
Yeah, sure, look, they're the standard bearers. Look, they won the league handy. Even the first day we played them, but look, the finals are different. Galway are a different beast in the final. We know that the last 2 years, finals have been exceptional. Semi-final the year before, we respect each other so well, and we probably know each other. And look, whoever plays better on the day will win.
Sure, well done, congrats.
Thanks very much, sound lads.
Yeah, we're joined by an extended panel here as well. Probably make more sense than the three panels I have beside me.
We better not say too much about Cork.
No, Ursula, I suppose the key point to make here is Tip had a good second half rally. It wasn't quite enough. They needed that goal, but they showed really good flashes of potential at times in that second half.
Yeah, I think that's what we were calling out for with Tip in the first half. They really needed to press and put more urgency in their play. And Grace O'Brien, to be fair to her, got two points in the second half. Again, Emer Heffernan, who showed glimpses, throughout this year's championship. She's a fabulous striker of the ball, and she took the game to Cork, but unfortunately they didn't do this in the first half. Cueva Stakelum, who had a quiet first half, came into the game more, even though they were, applying so much pressure on her. And again, Corinne Blair, it was so much more positive from Tip, but they probably left it a little bit too late. We can see the potential there in some of those scores. They're fabulous scores. They got themselves in the right position. Roisin Howard, a quick ball across to Corinne Blair and over the bar. But it was missing in the first half when the damage was done. And that's probably what they'll regret afterwards.
And Tip, finally, they got in their faces. They started putting in the tackles. Their work rate was up in the second half, Damien, and that Tip crowd were only dying for something to happen. Every point they scored, the crowd were behind them. It was just a pity they couldn't get in for the goal.
They really needed a goal, didn't they? And Amy Lee had the answer to that.
She absolutely did. I think, Damien, it's no secret Amy Lee's only conceded one goal so far in this year's championship, and you can see why here. This is going to be one, I'm sure, that in years to come she's going to think back on, because she was fully stretched out for that. I mean, it was a tremendous save, and at a time where it could have shifted the momentum towards Tipperary had they got that goal. But I mean, that's what every goalkeeper dreams of doing in an All-Ireland semi-final, and she executed superbly. I know it was a resulting 45, but I think that save was worth as much to Cork as any goal was to the other end.
And speaking of Amy Lee, here she is now with Cahill.
Amy, congratulations. Another really good display, and you're back in an All-Ireland final. How big a task was that in the second half in particular?
Yeah, it was really tough. The breeze against us and stuff. But to be fair, we defended very well. And I think the subs made a massive impact coming on. Orla Mullins there, I think, got 2 points. And it just helped us put the game to bed in the end. So they did very well. From the backs now to the forwards, unbelievable hard work.
You got off to a great start in the first half, backed by that breeze, of course. But what was the key to that, did you feel?
Just the hard work, every breaking ball on top of the breaking ball. I think we got success from the long puck outs once it was broken onto the break, which is credit again to the forwards. And I think the long ball in as well just unsettled Tip a bit. found it hard to work it out. The girls put savage pressure on them, to be fair to them, and we just kept constant pressure on them for the 20-30 minutes that we were in there.
And then the second half, you had that lead, but you were into the breeze, particularly as a goalkeeper. It's not easy, I'm sure.
No, it's not. I don't know. I picked the ball when I go and put it over the sideline, and all I could do was laugh. Sure, look, these things happen. Yeah, it's very hard. And to be fair, again, all credit to the forwards. They adjust what they're doing up above for me to hit them. You see there the last 10 minutes, I think we actually ended up getting a bit of joy out of the ball. They're letting the ball run through. Amy O'Connor picked up one, Saoirse picked up one. Just took the pressure off the backs because we were under savage pressure there for a bit. So, like, again, credit to the forwards, they did a great job.
Can you talk to us about that unbelievable save you made as well?
Yeah, she was just coming in, and look, I suppose it's luck of the draw sometimes. If you watch it back, I'd say I just got the tip of the hurley to it, you know. I stood right in the goal at the time, I suppose, and look, it's my job at the end of the day, like, you know, the least I could do for the girls, like, they're out there working so hard. I have puck outs and saves to make, so it's good to get save off.
It came at a key stage as well. Just in terms of the overall picture now for Cork, Amy, heading into another All-Ireland against a Galway team, would you say that is there a real hunger within Cork this year to win it back?
Yeah, 100%. As everyone's well aware, we were probably wrote off in the league in the Munster. We didn't have a great start, but like we had so many outgoings and we had so many girls incoming. But testament to the girls, like they stuck at it. I think they knew that, like, work hard, we'll get there. And like it's just shown for the whole of the championship. Like you see, like Ava, Millie, Izzy Sheehan, like all Orla Callahan's still young, even though she's been around a while. Like, you know, all putting their heart and soul into the game, like, and like the hard work now and the heartbreak from the last 6 months or whatever it is, like, is really shown. And like fair play to them, like they stuck at it and we're getting the results now.
Okay. Well, Amy, well done, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, in fairness, we're a pivotal save at a crucial time. But the 2 goals that Cork got in that first half, Ursula, I mean, what a platform they gave their side.
They were just ruthless and efficient in the first half, and Ger said it in his interview. They went for the goals. I probably could watch this goal all day long. The use of possession, the skill level, the vision of Saoirse here. Look at the touch, firstly, of Amy, then the footwork, then the power to drive past her 2 players, and then the finish. Any player watching this at home, young boys, young girls, that's top drawer, that's brilliant all day long, and it's what big players like Amy do on the big stage. Again, you know, as Saoirse said, Millie probably found herself in the right position. Tip will be disappointed, and Laura will be disappointed with maybe not stopping it, but Millie got herself in the right place, and that half forward line, the ground they covered in the first half was immense.
Yeah, it was a great shot. Laura has been in fine form all year, unlucky not to save it.
Yeah, you know, and they're the things. Tip needed probably the goals today, and Cork managed again.
Right, we're going to hear now from the Tipperary manager, James Heffron. He's had a good, solid year, but ultimately ends in disappointment, and he spoke to Carl just a few moments ago.
James, commiserations, tough defeat to take. You nearly got there in the second half. Did you feel like you needed a goal maybe in that second half?
Yeah, I suppose like when it's 9 points, you're going to need a goal to get back into a call. Even probably to beat Cork in the first place, you probably need a goal, but especially when you're down that much at half time. Look, I thought the girls fought unbelievably hard in the second half. Even we had it back to probably 5 with maybe 10 minutes to go on the clock plus injury time. My one gripe would be I thought it was maybe 6 or 7 minutes injury time. Look, it didn't make a difference for a finish. But like, you know, we just probably didn't push on then. We got back in that position where we were just about back in the game. But our girls showed some heart. But look, you can't give Cork 9 points lead. You can't probably just kind of went away from us there, and that spell in the first half when they got their second goal, they probably went from maybe 4 points to 9 points up, and it was kind of an uphill battle from there. But geez, like we didn't lie down at half time, you know. So I have to give great credit to our girls.
What was the difference, did you feel, in that first half in particular between the teams?
I just thought we were losing runners in the first half. They were kind of getting overlaps. Like we'd like, in fairness to our girls, we'd asked them to push up, Cork like to drop deep in the half forward line and collect the ball, and we'd asked our players to push up, and we did. But it's just we kind of lost runners in behind, I felt. And you know, they're getting quality ball inside as well. So look, when they're getting overlaps in, there's not enough pressure on the ball, and that was probably killing us. Probably chances then as well. Didn't use the ball great in the first half, but look, we eradicated that at half time, and that's down to the players. Like, but just unfortunately we couldn't get back close enough.
You mentioned the fighting spirit of your players then in the second half was a brilliant display. Again, that goal may have kicked you on a little bit, but you fought really, really hard.
Yeah, and even Grace had a great chance there. The goalie made an unreal save. I couldn't believe she got a hurley to it. That probably would have made a difference. Probably brought it back to 3 or 4 points at that stage. And look, we kept fighting to the very end. I think, you know, probably give Cork a good game there for a finish, but just look, overall just really, really disappointed. Gutted for the players. You know, they put everything into it, and I think they showed in the second half how good they are. But, you know, you just have to put that together for 60 minutes to win these big games.
And when the dust does settle, will you be able to take something from that and the year overall then building into another campaign?
Yeah, sure, look, next year seems an awful long way away now at the moment. But you will, like, and the girls will, you know, probably sometimes defeats, you know, you let them kind of peter out, but they didn't. They fought to the bitter end there today. So definitely that's a positive. But like, it won't be any consolation now for the girls tonight, and over the next couple of weeks they'll be absolutely devastated. But look, fair play to Cork. That'll be some final now again between Cork and Galway. And like again, Cork probably saved their best display for today, which kind of shows the kind of team they are, you know. So,
James,
thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Yeah, James Heffernan there. Cork were unbelievably intense today, and were they lucky to finish with 15 in the end, Ursula?
Yeah, well, just after half time there was an off the ball incident between Aisling Thompson and Casey Hennessy, and we can probably see it here. They're pushing and shoving. Yeah, we can see it around the middle of the field there, and Casey goes down. And probably looking at it closer, it's surprising maybe that Aisling didn't receive some form of a card. We can see, you know, the pushing and shoving, and
now they're both at it as well.
They're both at it. You know, Casey goes down here now in a minute. Is there a hurl? Is there a jab to it? She's probably lucky that it was only a throw ball, no card. We're not looking to get anyone sent off.
No, referee was right in front of it.
It was a key moment, and obviously Aisling's such a big name and big player for Cork.
In terms of the All-Ireland final, you got Cork and Galway girls. Work rate and physicality gave Galway a leg up last year. Cork will have their cards well marked this time around. Okay, so we've got a player from each county here, and we've got a neutral. But start with you, Anna. Like, it's exciting for the new players. Cork looked really full of tempo tonight. An awful lot to be positive about anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm incredibly proud of the performance that they put in, the work rate, the intensity, the turnovers, the tackles, the cohesion, particularly up front as well, as how they all worked together. It didn't matter who got the score, it was about who was in the best position. That's wonderful to see from a team. And for me, I suppose, what's great from Germanley's point of view is they still have a lot to work on, because in the second half, Tipperary still won a lot of Cork's puck out, and also as well, they only converted 5 out of 10 scores. So, and I know I'm picking, but if you want to get to an All-Ireland final and win it, that's what he's going to do. Exactly. They can build on what they've done really well, and also then they have things to work on. But like the under-23 All-Ireland for Cork, you know, it injected energy into not just the county, but also into some of those players. Some of them have already an All-Ireland medal in their back pocket, and I'm sure they want to add a senior. And in my opinion today, on both semi-finals, I think Cork looked the more tenacious of the two teams between Galway and Cork.
On today's performance, but certainly Galway have lots to work on too, don't they, Anne-Marie? Like, Cahill would have had plenty of pointers there afterwards.
Definitely, Damien, and Anna said it there. Like, we felt that of the two semi-finals at Cork, there was a different tempo in that second game. Cork looked really, really sharp. Took Galway a while to get going, and I think then they emptied their bench in the second half maybe. So Galway have a huge amount to work on. Cork are not going to be surprised. I think Cork were shell-shocked last year at the intensity that Galway brought to it. That's not going to happen. The element of surprise is not going to be there this year. They've served up some wonderful finals in the last couple of years. I encourage people to go, get out there, support your counties. I think we're in for another absolute cracker.
Two best teams in the country back in a final. I wonder, will there be a left of field angle coming into this one, Ursula? But both teams know each other so well. What's left to hide at this stage?
That's it, and I think they bring out the very best in each other. They seem to be able to peak at the right time in an All-Ireland, and both teams thrive off Croke Park and playing there, the big open spaces. Cork will be hurting from last year, and Galway are looking to do the back-to-back, so they both have huge motivation going into this final. I think we're in for a cracking final like the last 2 years. So
the Cork flag is draping very close to my face here at times, Damien. I thought I was going to get a belt of a Cork flag there.
It wasn't from me, I promise.
You were going in the middle for All-Ireland final.
100%. And the one thing I will say as well is there will be, and I'm not just saying this as a Cork person, but there will be a lot of talk about the fact that Galway have never done a back-to-back All-Ireland, and now they're in the position to do it. That will add a pressure. I'm sure, you know, people always say, oh, you can drone it out, but it's in the air. So
Is that
might
the
be worth
first
a few
blow?
points
Is that
to
the
us.
first blow?
Throw it in, Rev. That's the first blow now because Cork are going in as favourites, Damien, in that bit.
And I think Galway will be happy today. There'll probably be more talk around the performance of Cork in the first half, as opposed to, I think Galway did just enough today to get over the line, but there's heaps more in Galway. Cahill is able to get this team to shine on the big day as well.
And that's a skill in itself.
Injuries would be a concern for me. You know, Aisling Thompson today with Cork, Aoife Donoghue, Niamh Mallon, Sabina Rabbit, even Carrie got a knock. So they've 2 weeks to get these players right, and we want the best players on the pitch playing because they'll bring their A game like they always do.
It's such an exciting time, I think, these 2 weeks leading into an All-Ireland final, like the buzz of going training now for all those players, you know, the excitement around getting ready for Croke
And
Park.
even the supporters, David, you can see what it means. I mean, we've future stars behind us here, and we, you know, it just shows now, like, that even the fact that Galway and Cork have met each other so many times, there's still going to be excitement because there's 2 different sets of players on the pitch come All-Ireland final day in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the kids really enjoyed themselves behind us, but it's the grown-ups I'm more worried about. In terms of how do you see it last year, we had 4 All-Ireland finals. Camogie was by far and away the best in my opinion, but how do you see this one going, Ursula, as a neutral?
I think it's going to go down to the wire, without a doubt. I think it could be very much like last year, the last puck of the ball in the game, and like it's a brilliant showcase for Camogie as well on All-Ireland final day. They have raised the standard. Galway and Cork are ahead of the pack, there's no point in saying it, and as I said, the skill level, the fitness level, the strength and condition, everything, they match each other brilliantly.
Ursula, Anne-Marie, Anna, thank you so much for your cooperation and your help here this evening in front of a record-breaking crowd. Over 10,000 people, history made here in Thurles, and it's Cork and Galway in the All-Ireland final on August the 9th. Looking forward to it already. Bye-bye from here.